up your heart and say, hold on. There will be better days. There'll be better days. God, oh God, please help me. I need someone that can guide me the right way. The right way. I don't need you to judge me. I just need someone to love me the right way. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days.
Let it rain. Every storm followed by a brighter day. Recognize love when you see it. Only you can open up your heart and say, hold on. There will be better days. There will be better days. God, oh God, please help me. I need someone that can guide me the right way. The right way. I don't need you to judge me. I just need someone to love me the right way. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days. Better days, better days, better days. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days. Oh, better days, oh, better days, oh, better days. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days.
Run away, yeah. Take your time, say a prayer, yeah. Recognize pain when you sleep, yes. Don't be cruel, open up your heart and say, hold on. There will be better days. There'll be better days. God, oh God, please help me. I need someone that can guide me the right way. The right way. I don't need you to judge me. I just need someone to love me the right way. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days.
Let it rain, every storm followed by a brighter day. Recognize love when you see it. Only you can open up your heart and say, hold on. There will be better days. There will be better days. God, oh God, please help me. I need someone that can guide me the right way. The right way. I don't need you to judge me. I just need someone to love me the right way. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days.
Melayang serindik di atas pematang, merbah berkicau di hujung muara. Pemanis kata selamat datang, awal bismillah pembuka bicara. Assalamualaikum dan selamat sejahtera saya ucapkan kepada Timbalan Dekan Hal Ehwal Pelajar dan Alumni merangkap Penasihat 1 Kelab ITC Puan Munirah binti Muhammad Yusof. Penasihat kedua Kelab ITC Puan Suryawati binti Suparjo. Panel penceramah program kita Encik ZAINUL NAIM bin ZAMHURI, para pensyarah yang dikasihi serta semua hadirin yang hadir pada hari ini. Izinkan saya perkenalkan diri saya dahulu. Nama saya Muhammad Afiq Amir selaku moderator anda bagi sesi program Industry Talk UI UX Design 102. Bagi pihak Kelab Teknologi Maklumat ITC, di mana tetap ingin saya berterima kasih kepada semua hadirin kerana menyertai sesi perkongsian ini, di mana tetamu jemputan kita mempunyai latar belakang dan pengalaman industri di dalam bidang UI UX. Buat pengetahuan hadirin sekalian, ini bukanlah kali pertama ITC mengadakan program sebegini, malah ini juga bukan kali pertama tetamu kita dijemput untuk memberi perkongsian. Tetapi sebelum saya teruskan, ingin saya menjemput saudara Muhammad Muizzul Amin bin Abdul Halim untuk membacakan doa bagi memberkati program kita pada hari ini. Dipersilakan saudara Muhammad Muizzul Amin bin Abdul Halim.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi washabihi ajmain. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, hanya padamu saja kami panjangkan kesyukuran atas segala rahmat dan berkat-Mu. Bersempena dengan majlis kita pada hari ini, kami mohon inayah dan taufik-Mu. Kurniakanlah kesejahteraan dan kebahagiaan kepada kami. Bukakanlah hati-hati kami, lapangkanlah dada kami, supaya kami dapat mengisi ilmu dan pengetahuan yang berguna untuk agama, bangsa dan negara. Ya Allah, ya Rahman, ya Rahim. Kami mohon kepadamu agar engkau berkatilah majlis ini dengan limpah rahmat-Mu. Semoga segala usaha kami dalam menjayakan majlis ini mendapat keredaan dan hidayah-Mu. Sesungguhnya pada hari ini kami berkumpul kerana-Mu, Ya Allah. Kami berkumpul untuk menimba ilmu, bertukar pendapat, menyumbang buah fikiran dan menghubungkan silaturahim. Ya Allah, Ya Zal Wal Ikram, kami mohon kekuatan dan hidrat-Mu, Ya Allah, supaya kami yang hadir pada hari ini agar kami dapat melaksanakan segala kebajikan. Dan kami pohon perlindungan dengan Engkau daripada melakukan keburukan. Ya Allah, kurniakanlah kepada kami kekayaan ilmu pengetahuan dan hiasilah diri kami dengan sifat lemah lembut. Serta kurniakanlah kami dengan ketakwaan dan indahkanlah diri kami dengan kesihatan. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi washabihi wasallam. Walhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
Amin amin ya rabbal alamin. Terima kasih saudara Muhammad Muizzul Amin bin Abdul Halim atas bacaan doa itu tadi. Sidang hadirin yang dihormati, mesti semua tidak sabarkan nak dengar tetamu jemputan kita untuk ceritakan perkongsian beliau. Jadi, tanpa melengahkan masa lagi, saya memperkenalkan hadirin sekalian kepada Encik ZAINUL NAIM bin ZAMHURI. Beliau merupakan alumni fakulti kita sendiri, FSKTM UTHM. Sebelum ini, ITC pernah menjemput Encik ZAINUL NAIM untuk menghadiri program Industry Talk UI UX Design 101. Di mana di dalam program tersebut, Encik ZAINUL NAIM telah berkongsi pelbagai pengetahuan tentang apa itu UI UX buat masa sekarang. Encik ZAINUL NAIM memegang jawatan sebagai UX Researcher, UI UX Employee Digital Experience di Petronas Group Digital. Maka, saya berharap hadirin sekalian dapat mengambil peluang ini untuk menimba ilmu di mana tentang UI UX yang akan disampaikan oleh para panel serta para hadirin sekalian. Juga boleh bertanyakan pelbagai soalan kepada seorang yang sememangnya berpengalaman dalam bidang UI UX sewaktu sesi soal jawab pada waktu akhir nanti. Tanpa melengahkan masa, saya menjemput Encik ZAINUL NAIM untuk berkongsikan ilmu dan pengalaman beliau dalam UI UX design. Encik ZAINUL, dipersilakan.
Right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera semua. Alhamdulillah, dapat juga kita join untuk session hari ni, kali ni. Industry Talk UI UX Design 102. Okay. Semua dapat dengar saya clear So I think today punya session I think is a bit different with the previous one lah. Just nak tanya, today yang join di session, semua dah join, semua pernah join yang 101 dulu ke? Boleh saya tanya?
Ini first time.
First time Oh, jadi ini a different crowd lah kan? Betul tak? Alright, cool. So kita punya session kita buat relax lah, okay? Terus terang kita buat relax, kita kalau boleh kita ada two-way communication jugalah throughout the session ya. Okay, so if you guys want to ask anything while I'm talking ke apa ke, just let me know. You can interrupt me whenever you want. Kita boleh discuss. So I think this is more like a casual session, not really strict to the protocol ke apa kan. I think it will make us more comfortable in a way to communicate with each other. Okay. Alright. So I think since this is the first time you guys are joining this UI UX punya talk kan, just nak share sikit lah the previous session that we had during the UI UX talk 101. Saya lebih fokus kepada UI UX punya roles dalam industri and also the UI UX process. Okay. Jadi during this session 102, apa yang saya buat kelainan, kita nak buat some activity. Kita nak buat hands-on punya walkthrough in terms of what are the methodology yang kita nak fokus hari ni. So saya akan kembali kepada that part later on, but let me just share my screen kan. Hold on ya. Alright. So a bit introduction of myself lah. So my name is ZAINUL NAIM. I'm currently UX researcher tu. That is actually my previous position. Right now, I'm actually the UX architect in Petronas Group Digital under end user design department. Yeah. Just nak kongsi sikit pasal diri saya. So saya lahir di Selangor dan saya dibesarkan di Perak. Saya dibesarkan di satu kampung kecil dipanggil Malim Nawa, dan saya berhijrah ke Ipoh, and then saya sudah berkeluarga. Saya dah ada 2 orang anak dan ini family saya. Jadi family saya kecil je. So saya ada 2 orang adik-beradik. So saya ada mak dan ayah saya ada dekat Ipoh sampai sekarang. Okay. So saya nak beralih kepada education. So saya bermula dengan sekolah di Malinawa, and then bila saya berhijrah ke Ipoh, saya dapat tawaran ke teknik Ipoh, teknik lubricator Ipoh, dan saya lepas SPM saya lanjutkan pelajaran di Politeknik Ungku Omar Ipoh juga. Okay. Ada siapa-siapa kalau ada yang daripada Politeknik Ungku Omar, bolehlah cakap dengan saya. So kita sama-sama daripada Politeknik Ungku Omar. Alhamdulillah saya dapat tawaran ke UTHM seterusnya. So just nak share sikit gambar-gambar kenangan semasa saya di UTHM. Saya rasa ada few faces yang awak familiar juga. Kita ada Encik Fakri kat situ. And then itu fakulti FSKTM. Kita ada buat carnival Pasar Lambak dulu, and then kita ada buat pergi melawat ke pusat RTM dan sebagainya. Okay. Jadi bila saya di UTHM ni, I think the key highlight of my achievement is during the final year lah. To be honest, I'm not really a very excellent punya student, tapi saya sangat-sangat bersemangat kalau pasal FYP ni, final year project. Okay. Jadi daripada final year project tu, actually bila kita dah dapat idea, alhamdulillah saya punya project ni menjadi projek terbaik multimedia. Seterusnya saya pergi ke R&I punya competition dekat UTHM, saya dapat Gold Award. Dekat bawah sekali kiri itu adalah gambar saya di iTax 2015 dekat KL Convert. Kami menang Gold Award dan juga Special Award daripada Germany. Gambar saya KLCC dengan Cik Fakri tu kan. So medal tu adalah medal Gold Award dan juga saya punya award daripada Germany, Special Award. Dan bila convocation ke-15 juga UTHM tu, saya dapat anugerah projek sarjana muda terbaik. Dan seterusnya selepas sahaja saya dapat projek terbaik di masa konvo, saya dengan Cik Fakri pergi ke Korea untuk present kita punya projek kat sana, dan alhamdulillah kita dapat Silver Award. Okay, untuk UTHM. So yang bawah sekali kanan itu adalah gambar kenangan mana saya dapat Silver Award di Korea, dekat Seoul masa tu. So I think kalau orang selalu tanya saya, macam UTHM selalu panggil saya untuk bagi talk ni, kadang-kadang saya ni susah sikit nak tolak lah kalau dari segi jemputan daripada FSKTM ni. Sebab saya rasa FSKTM tu dekat lah dengan saya. So saya banyak kenangan kat sana kan, dan banyak achievement yang saya dapat masa saya study di UTHM. Alhamdulillah. Jadi selepas saya punya final year project, saya menang award sebagainya, bermulalah career saya. So career saya mula dengan internship saya. Saya internship di satu company education punya provider. Kita provide some classes pasal multimedia, pasal Adobe Photoshop for example, pasal InDesign. Jadi saya satu company nama dia sifu.com. So you guys boleh search juga sifu.com. I think sifu.com dia sampai sekarang aktif dari segi menyumbang pengetahuan berkenaan dengan creative industry. Okay. Jadi gambar saya yang seterusnya atas second tu, and then saya pergi ke interview. Masa saya interview di Petronas, masa tu Petronas ICT bukan Petronas Digital lagi. So Petronas ICT, alhamdulillah saya diterima masuk. Dan adalah satu cerita menarik macam mana saya dapat diterima masuk dalam Petronas tu. InsyaAllah kalau throughout in the end of the session nanti kalau ada masa, saya akan share supaya saya rasa itu kalau tak banyak pun akan memberikan sedikit inspirasi kepada anda semualah kan. Jadi itu pengalaman saya. So saya bermula daripada satu team nama dia Mobility Team. Kita buat mobile apps untuk Petronas ICT masa tu. And then saya mula dengan front end developer masa tu. And then slowly masa dulu kita tak ada UI UX kan. UI UX ni still very new during that time. So kita tak ada a specific team UI UX masa tu. Jadi saya ada sedikit knowledge berkenaan dengan creative art semua tu. Saya dapat design. Jadi masa saya team dengan mobility tu, bila dah try buat UI UI front end semua tu, end up macam lebih job scope saya tu lebih kepada buat design dari segi mockup, kita present kepada user, present kepada stakeholder kan untuk dapatkan dia orang punya buy-in. So daripada situ saya mula design screen, design mobile apps, lepas tu kita present, lepas tu dah siap kita build and then of course during kita buat satu app tu kita ada improvement. So itu adalah bermulanya saya punya career path kepada UI UX. Jadi bila dah makin lama UI UX ni dah makin orang dah lebih dia punya demand dah tinggi. So orang dah lebih aware pasal UI UX, pentingnya UI UX. Jadi dalam 2017, end of 2017, 2018 kita ada the first UI UX team in Petronas masa tu. So saya adalah salah seorang team member masa tu dan dia berkembang sampailah sekarang ni kita ada a specific UI UX punya department under end user design group digital. Okay, so dekat situlah saya sekarang ni. Jadi saya dah 6 tahun lebih dekat Petronas so far. Okay, so sedikit berkenaan dengan diri saya. So saya rasa saya tak nak cerita pasal diri saya saja. Saya nak someone untuk bercerita juga pasal you guys. You guys punya course, tahun berapa semua tu. Maybe someone boleh speak up sikit. Saya nak dengar. Kita sembang-sembang sikit hari ni. Boleh anyone? Janganlah bagi saya cakap seorang. Okay, macam ni. Saya faham hari ni hari Sabtu. You guys cuti kan hari ni kan? Betul tak? Tak ada kelas apa kan? Cuti. So ini adalah awak punya volunteer jugalah kan untuk join this session kan? Which I'm really appreciate you guys join here. You guys dah join in pun I dah appreciate sangat dah. Tapi let's have that two ways punya communication juga supaya kita tak I'm not feeling alone jugalah kat sini. So jom cerita sikit, someone boleh cerita? Saya akan tunggu Anyone? Janganlah bagi komiti pula yang cakap, nanti komiti yang bagi nak bagi run kan, bagi komiti pula cakap. Anyone? Siapa-siapa yang ada?
Hai, Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Nama saya Zarif Nur Ahmad.
Ya,
Saya
Zarif.
pelajar FSKTM juga, tahun 3.
Tahun 3, okay.
Yes, tahun 3. So saya course BIT, Information Technology. Saya banyak buat, saya minat ke arah web based.
Okay.
So saya tertarik dengan UI UX ni. So saya nak tahu apa maksud sebenar UI UX ni. Mungkin kalau saya minat, saya boleh belajar lagi ke dalam. Lepas tu saya nak mantapkan lagi saya punya web base lah, develop website punya.
Alright, cool. Nice. So terima kasih Encik Zarif. So UI saya akan explain. I think that one dah macam Q&A kan. Saya akan explain lepas ni, saya akan explain pasal introduction pasal UI UX. Very short one sebab saya rasa saya dah cover a lot during 101 punya session. So hari ni punya session kita nak pergi hands on kepada satu aktiviti tu, nanti saya akan proceed depan ni. So Encik Zarif Aiman dah tahun ketiga So just nak tanya Zarif, untuk final year project dah fikir dah ke nak buat projek apa?
Dah. Saya dah propose title saya.
Oh, dah propose lah. So define title okay?
Okay. Semua panel terima, alhamdulillah.
Alright, cool. So dah start buat lah sekarang, betul tak?
Dah start buat chapter 1 lah.
Yes, okay, nice. So FYP ni penting, nanti saya akan share end of the session nanti saya akan share kenapa saya rasa FYP ni the most important period during your time in UTHM. So nanti saya akan cerita masa last nanti. Okay, terima kasih Encik Zarif support share. So saya percaya semua yang join hari ni, kita ada berapa orang berapa orang hari ni join kita? Ada number tak? Cik Afiq, berapa orang?
Dalam 102.
102, alhamdulillah kita ada 102 yang join kita punya session hari ni. Semoga 102 orang itu kita dapat 102 orang yang mendengar kita jugalah kan. So hopefully dapat communicate dengan saya sekali Alright, so jom kita pergi ke nak understand pasal UI UX kan, macam yang Cik Zarif tanya tadi. So apa benda UI UX ni? So UI UX ni, UI is user interface, UX is user experience. I think that is very common punya term yang ada sekarang ni kan. So kalau dari bahasa mudahnya, kalau kita nak rasanya, kita boleh cakap yang UX ataupun UI adalah luaran dia, macam kita punya appearance, kita punya kulit. UX lebih kepada kita punya skeleton. So skeleton UX ni macam badan kita lah. Macam badan kita ada tulang, kita ada sendi semua tu kan. So kita punya movement semua. And then UI ni is kita punya kulit ni. So kulit kita ni putih ke, sawo matang ke, ataupun kita punya rambut panjang ke apa ke, that is UI. So UX is dia punya sebalik tu, kita tak nampak exactly UX, tapi kita boleh experience, kita boleh rasa kehadiran UX tu kan. So UI is dia punya look and feel dia. Okay. So kalau kita tengokkan dari segi definition of UI UX ni, UI ni is apa yang kita nampak, apa yang kita berinteract. Okay. So it's an interface between the human and also the computer. So tak kisahlah komputer ke, handphone ke, ataupun touchscreen ke apa ke. So that is the UI yang human ni interact is with the UI. Tapi dia punya logic kat belakang dia tu is the UX. So macam mana kita nak tahu apa kehendak user tu, apa kehendak pengguna, apa yang dia nak tengok, apa yang dia nak buat, apa action yang dia kena ambil, itu adalah UX. So benda tu adalah sangat broad punya elemen yang kita boleh combine to have a very good UX punya experience. Alright. So kalau kita go back to zaman dulu kan, masa mula-mula digital world ni, zaman .com ni appear kan during early 90s ataupun during 2000 kan. So banyak sistem-sistem yang keluar, sistem-sistem yang baru, diorang tak fokus sangat kepada UI yang bagus, UX yang bagus. Diorang lebih fokus kepada final action. di mana kita nak kita nak reach the goal kepada user tu. For example, kalau dulu-dulu kita nak submit ataupun kita nak pergi ke bank punya apps for example, and then kita pergi ke key in, kita transfer dan sebagainya, sukses, then that is it. For example, kalau sistem kalau kita cakap sistem yang common dengan dulu-dulu, sistem pinjaman buku dan sebagainya. So dia punya action dia tu, dia punya goal daripada A ke B, setiap action tu diorang akan buat. Tapi diorang tak fokus sangat kepada UI, diorang lebih. Jadi bila zaman tu dah berkembang, bila dah semakin advance benda tu, so kita dah banyak dah sistem-sistem ni, sistem booking buku, sistem booking tiket lah apa ni, dah banyak dengan sistem tu, and it works, the flow it works, okay. Tapi orang dah lebih explore kepada macam mana kita nak buat benda tu lebih atraktif. Okay, diorang buat lagi benda tu bagi cantik dan sebagainya. Dan bila dah makin cantik, lagi advance lagi. Bila dah lagi advance, diorang dah fikir macam mana, okay, kita punya ni cantik, tapi adakah dia memudahkan user? Okay, so kat situ datangnya UX pula. So kita boleh nampak pengembangan tu sebenarnya kalau kita perhatikan. Kalau anda semua boleh check macam mana user interface Facebook dulu compare dengan sekarang tu, kita boleh nampak dia punya huge gap in terms of how they evolve. Okay, so that is what's happening lah in the world kan. So that's why masa zaman sekarang ni the demand of UI UX punya person is very high. So sebabnya bila kita dah banyak sangat sistem, kita dah banyak, kalau even if I talk about Petronas itself, kita ada beribu-ribu sistem, internal sistem, ada macam-macam sistem. Jadi tapi benda tu kalau dari segi UI, dia punya UX dia is a bit outdated for sure. Not even Petronas, in outside world as well. So that is the area that we want to focus at. So that's why UI UX punya person ni, dia punya demand tu is very high, and then dia punya kesedaran dia tu dah orang dah aware kepentingan UX tu. Okay, so apa yang saya nak ceritakan hari ni, share hari ni is lebih kepada pasal salah satu metodologi yang sangat popular pada saya, iaitu heuristic punya evaluation, usability heuristic. Okay, just a bit introduction about this heuristic punya evaluation. Kenapa saya rasa saya pilih heuristic evaluation ni sebagai topik kita pada hari ni, perkongsian. Jadi saya nak share sikit dari segi heuristic ni. The beauty of this heuristic evaluation is you doesn't have to be a very good designer, a very good UI UX punya person untuk belajar benda ni, untuk buat benda ni. So it's actually a methodology, a method. So nanti saya akan explore satu-satu points dalam ataupun principle dalam heuristic evaluation. Jadi kenapa saya pilih heuristic evaluation untuk topik kita hari ni? So previous session saya share lebih kepada UI UX punya role. Kita ada contohnya, saya ulang balik, kita ada visual designer, kita ada UX punya researcher, kita ada user experience punya person, kita ada front end developer, kita ada UX writer, kita ada information architecture, information architect. Kita ada banyak role. Kalau awak pergi ke website pun, saya pasti awak boleh tengok banyak roles. Kalau type tu UI UX roles, so ada banyak. And even they call this special term for, they call it as a unicorn. So unicorn ni something yang macam rare lah kan. So a unicorn in UI UX punya role ni, dia lebih kurang someone yang boleh buat semua. Dia boleh code front end, dia boleh buat research, dia boleh buat UX punya evaluation, dia boleh buat design. So that person we call it as a unicorn lah kononnya kan. So that is actually a real term that they are using in outside world. Okay, kenapa saya pilih heuristic evaluation pada hari ini? Sebabnya macam saya cakap tadi, awak tak perlu jadi seorang yang pakar dalam UI ke apa ke, design ke apa ke, sebab dia sebenarnya dia sangat flexible in terms of siapa-siapa saja boleh buat benda ni. Okay, so dia boleh consider dia macam checklist lah bila kita nak evaluate satu benda tu. And then pada saya, untuk someone yang new nak masuk ke UI UX ni, sangat boleh benefit daripada 10 prinsip ni. Sebab salah satunya sebab kita boleh train kita punya designer punya eyes tu. So kita boleh tahu macam mana nak measure apa yang kita boleh improve dalam certain design tu. So nanti kita akan go through dengan ni. So saya rasa better kita jump into the ni. Sekejap saya share another screen. Okay. So kita dengar sikit sedikit penerangan daripada ini adalah Jacob Nielsen. Dia adalah founder kepada NNG dan dia juga adalah pelopor untuk heuristic evaluation ni lah.
Heuristic evaluation is a method for
Boleh
finding
dengar?
usability flaws in a design by judging it relative to known principles for what makes user interfaces easy to use. The 10 most fundamental of these principles are called the usability heuristics, which is how the method got its name. Now, heuristic means rule of thumb. So basically a very broad design guideline that applies to a wide range of user interfaces, though not necessarily every single time. There are exceptions, but very few of them. And you should not bet that your design is one of those few exceptions. And I would definitely recommend that you do a lot of user testing if you think about launching a product that violates any of the top 10 usability heuristics. We have separate articles and videos for each of the 10 heuristics, but just to give you an example, heuristic number 1 is visibility of system status. This means users should always be able to tell what the computer is doing and what state it's in. They should not have to guess or remember things. The system should show them and give good feedback. Now, that's a really general rule. And as with all 10 heuristics, it applies across all types of computer technology. Doesn't matter whether it's a mainframe computer, a PC, a mobile phone, or a smartwatch. Also doesn't matter whether you're designing a video game, an enterprise application, or a consumer website. In any case, you should aim for visibility of system status. Now, of course, if you're designing an auditory user interface, such as a voice assistant, we have to interpret the rule of visibility a bit differently. It's more a matter of the status being easily available and noticeable by the user, even if the information is provided by maybe sound effects or spoken words. The top 10 usability heuristics have remained the same for more than 25 years, exactly because they're so broad. They come from the basics of human behavior and the basics of what makes any kind of interaction design easy or difficult to use. Because the heuristics have proven themselves again and again with so many different technologies, I predict that they will also be relevant for future generations of user interfaces decades from now. Because the heuristics are so durable, it's well worth the investment for you to spend the time to learn all 10 of them and think about how they apply to designs you are working on. See the list of all 10 UX heuristics on the NN Group website.
Okay, tu sedikit sebanyak intro pasal UI UX ni. Heuristic evaluation. Jadi saya cari sikit. Right, so let's go to the 10 items kan. So kita pergi kepada point pertama iaitu visibility of system status ni kan. Jom kita dengar sikit pasal usability of system status.
The first of Jacob Nielsen's 10 usability heuristics is visibility of system status. This heuristic refers to how well the state of a system is conveyed to its users. Systems should always keep users informed about what is going on through appropriate feedback within a reasonable time. Imagine waiting for an elevator. You press the call button and expect it to light up to reflect that the system knows you're waiting and will send an elevator soon. You might even be able to see what floor that elevator is currently at, so you can gauge how long you'll need to wait. That knowledge is power. Open communication between the system and the user not only allows you to understand what is happening, but also empowers you to make decisions based on that information. Consider what information about a system the user needs to know and present that to them in a timely manner. This system status could be persistent or always visible, like a battery life or Wi-Fi connection indicator, or it can be feedback that is only shown after the user has done something. Just like when pressing that elevator button, feedback is critical to let people know their interactions with the system were acknowledged and successful. On a website or app, we expect visual feedback when we click an element, which can be as simple as changing the button color and, where appropriate, displaying a progress indicator. People should feel confident that their click was recognized and that the system is now working on the request. Understanding a system's current state is all about allowing users to feel in control. That said, providing visibility into the system does not mean you need to tell the user absolutely everything the system is doing. Don't provide system status updates if the user can't do anything with that feedback anyway. Too much information is distracting, so focus on only those key pieces of information that will truly be helpful or provide reassurance to the user. The visibility of system status heuristic highlights the importance of open and continuous communication, which is fundamental to all relationships, whether with people or with our devices. It's the key to making a system feel reliable and predictable, which in turn creates trust.
Alright. So itu adalah poin yang pertama dalam heuristic principle. So visibility of system status. Jadi okay, ini kita nak start buat hands on punya activity juga. So saya harap bila saya tanya nanti ada yang respond, kita nak ada that two-way punya communication. Dan saya rasa saya ada sediakan something juga untuk anda semua, something macam buah tangan juga. So kita akan pilih lah someone daripada the crowd ni. Kita ada 102 orang plus minus. Hopefully something tu awak sukalah. Saya akan hadiahkan. Tapi saya perlukan awak punya involvement lah during this session. Okay, jom kita pergi ke visibility of system status ni. So visibility of system status ni a very good example kita boleh tengok is macam a progress bar, dan kita ada even kalau kita tengok dekat Twitter, bila kita tweet satu benda tu, apa yang kita boleh dengar? Guys, come on guys, please. Kalau nak buka mic yang apa, kita sembang sama.
Bunyi pop.
Kan? Kalau dekat Twitter, bila kita tweet je, kita boleh dengar dia punya sound macam swoosh, bunyi macam kita ada send benda tu kan. And then kalau visibility of system status ni pentingnya sebabnya kita nak the user tu sentiasa tahu yang apa status dalam bila diorang berinteraksi dengan sistem tersebut kan. Jadi kalau kita pergi selain daripada example ni, progress status ni kan, for example kita pergi apa selain daripada sistem status yang kita boleh guna. For example kalau kita submit ataupun kita purchase barang ke apa ke, ataupun kita ni apa yang selalunya keluar masa kita guna apps ataupun website. Come on guys, please. Message. Apa kind of message? Dia cakap apa? Arifah kan?
Pop-up.
Congrats.
Yeah, congrats, success. We call it a success punya state kan? Okay, jom kita tengok. Kalau success punya state, saya full screen. So kita ambil satu success punya state lah kan. Ini saya design quickly untuk kita punya discussion today. Consider benda ni macam kita brainstorm sama-sama. So saya ambil satu icon success ni. Okay, kita pergi ke sini. Sikit. Okay. Tim kita ambil hijau. Okay. So contohnya apa kita nak tulis kat sini? Kita nak bagi tahu ni, kita nak bagi status ni. Okay, someone dah apa ni, upload satu file. So apa yang kita akan tulis?
Uploaded.
Ataupun uploaded ataupun success lah kan. Okay, kalau success kan. Success. Lepas tu dekat bawah tu kita boleh tulis your photo has been uploaded. Okay, nice. So ini kita boldkan sikit, ambil dia bold, kita besarkan sikit, nampak dia lebih dominan. So ini kita panggil design hierarchy lah. So ini kita sikit, your photo has been uploaded. Okay, a very simple one. So bayangkan kalau kita buat sesuatu benda tu, kalau kita create a system, kita create an application, kita ada bagi action kepada user untuk buat something, untuk submit ke apa ke, kita tak letak benda ni. So in a way, dekat user punya side, dia cakap apa yang jadi ni, macam sukses ke tak. This is similar with what happened during masa kita punya COVID, kita nak dapat vaksin kan. Yang masa sistem tengah, masa tu saya rasa sistem tengah crowded lah masa tu kan. Jadi apa yang jadi, kita try apply tapi kita tak dapat that success punya state tu. So kita ni, user ni duk tekan lah banyak kali. So at the same time kita hit dia punya back end tu banyak kali. So end up benda tu macam stuck lah in a way kan. Tapi bila selang beberapa hari, macam saya hari tu, bila saya buat banyak kali tak dapat, saya macam frust gila. Tiba-tiba esok pagi dapat notification, dah dapat temu janji. So kat situ kita boleh nampak macam, saya sampai malam tu macam, aduh tak dapat lah vaksin kan. So kita as a user, kita ada that frustration. That frustration tu, it comes from a bad user experience lah. Okay, faham eh? So this is one of the example of system status. So bila kita nak visibility of system status, bila sesuatu action tu ni, kita kena sentiasa bagi tahu user, okay, apa benda yang korang buat, apa benda yang korang submit, dah sukses. Okay, so apa lagi yang kita boleh kaitkan? For example, kalau saya cakap, kita try buat ni lah. Kalau kita uploading punya features kan. Okay, saya nak upload gambar. So masa upload gambar, dia sistem tu akan tulis uploading. Okay, ni contoh lah. Contoh uploading, lepas tu kita ada letak satu progress bar lah. Ingat tadi dia ada cakap salah satu option yang kita boleh buat is progress bar. Sebab apa? Kenapa kita kena ada progress bar? Come on guys. Come on. Progress bar ni untuk apa?
Dia indicate sampai mana sesuatu transaksi ke ataupun transfer tu di sampai maksud macam kalau instead of guna percentage like berapa persen barang tu ditransfer, so kita gunakan transfer bar.
Okay, siapa nama tadi?
Nazmi.
Terima kasih Nazmi. So betul lah. Progress bar ni untuk kita tunjuk dia punya status sekarang ni. So it's uploading. Kita dah faham. Okay, kita sentiasa tahu apa status sekarang ni. Okay, dia uploading. Dia dekat mana. So macam tadi Encik Nazmi cakap, kita kena ada percentage kan. So kita tulis lah 56%. Okay. So 56% ni, apa selain daripada percentage yang kita boleh pakai untuk mudahkan ataupun bagi tahu kat user yang status dia ni? Selain daripada
Estimate time.
Macam mana?
Estimate time.
Yes, nice. Siapa tu?
Amirul Hakim.
Amirul Hakim Okay, Amirul Hakim. So betul, kita ada estimation time. Okay, estimation time kita boleh buat kat bawah ni, for example 23 seconds left. Betul tak? Okay, so benda ni kita boleh buat kecil sikit ke? Betul tak? So kita buat macam tu, ataupun kita boleh buat nak cantik sikit. Ini kita tak payah bagi dia dark sangat, kita bagi dia grey sikit je. Okay, nampak? Okay, selain daripada ni, for example, saya rasa kalau benda tu file tu tak besar sangat, then okay lah, kita ada percentage, kita ada how many seconds left. Tapi contohnya kalau file tu besar, kan, file tu besar, kita nak upload satu movie ataupun satu video, 1 gig lebih ke apa ke, selain daripada percentage ataupun second ni, apa lagi kita boleh include?
Size of file.
Size of file, okay. Size of file kita boleh buat contohnya Siapa yang cakap size of file tadi?
Yuki.
Yuki. Okay, thanks Yuki. So size of file. For example, kita ada percentage in terms of 450 MB over 1 gigabyte. Is that what you mean, Yuki?
Yes.
Okay, nice. Okay, kita ada macam tu, kan? Selain daripada ni, apa lagi kita boleh include? Contoh saya nak tahu, macam saya ada, kadang-kadang benda tu slow tau. Slow ke apa ke, kadang-kadang kita nak tahu apa. Berkenaan dengan connection kita. Kita nak tahu apa.
Download speed.
Download speed. Nice. Siapa tu?
Siti Aisyah.
Siti Aisyah. Terima kasih Siti Aisyah. So ini adalah salah satu contoh lah. So download speed kan. Kadang-kadang benda tu akan create frustration juga. User ni, dia nak tahu, okay, kalau aku tengah upload satu file, 1 gig, tapi dia cakap sampai 24 jam, aku nak tahu kenapa. Adakah masalah sistem ni ke apa ke? So kita nak tahu, salah satu option dia is to see the connection punya speed kan. So kita boleh tengok 480 KB per second. Okay. Kita boleh buat macam tu. For example lah. So there's actually banyak option yang kita boleh bagi kat user ni supaya diorang sentiasa tahu what are the system status. Download speed, upload speed, dia punya percentage, file size, dia punya estimation, ETA. So itu adalah satu-satu elemen-elemen yang kita boleh pakai macam mana kita nak mudahkan user ni tahu that visibility of system status adalah which is salah satu daripada heuristic punya prinsipal. Okay, so terima kasih banyak pada yang ni. So kita move on kepada second punya point. Jom kita tengok what is
Jacob Nielsen's second usability heuristic says to match between the system and the real world. That means the system should speak the user's language with words, phrases, and concepts familiar to the user, rather than system-oriented terms. Additionally, the system should follow real-world conventions, making sure that information appears in a logical order. Let's discuss each of those components a bit more. The system should speak the user's language. Too often, I see the use of marketing jargon instead of direct, plain language to describe features or web components. So let's say we're redesigning an intranet and need to name a section that houses contact information for employees. Maybe we're looking at 2 proposed names, meet and greet or staff directory. Well, meet and greet might sound trendy, but it requires the user to make a lot of inferences. You might think, is that work events? Maybe calendar invites? Using the more direct label of staff directory results in a stronger information scent because many users will recognize the term directory as a place to find contact information. In addition to speaking the user's language, we should also follow real-world conventions. Here, it's important to point out that people's mental models of technology are based on their previous digital experiences in addition to their prior experiences in the physical realm. Now, we can't talk about the second usability heuristic without mentioning skeuomorphic design. Skeuomorphic web design entails designing digital experiences to match a physical experience, both in visual and interaction. For example, books. In physical books, we can turn pages, highlight text, or use a bookmark. Looking at a digital book in the Kindle app, we can highlight text by pressing and holding a word, turn pages with a swipe gesture, or place a bookmark by tapping the page, clicking the bookmark icon in the top right. The digital experiences of reading a book is closely aligned to the physical experience. Effectively following the second usability heuristic means speaking the user's language and following real-world conventions. If you're not doing both, users might portray your interface in a negative light, as if you don't really know them or you just don't care. At the end of the day, get out and observe real users, test your prototypes, and remember to design for them and not for you.
Right, cool. So the second point is match between the system and real world. Saya rasa kalau ini kan salah satu yang agak penting jugalah kan sekarang. Saya okay. Match between system and the real world. So kita boleh tengok kat sini apa yang kita buat dekat sistem ni, kita kena make sure yang benda tu adalah something yang kita boleh relate with the real world. Macam dia tadi mention, kalau kita baca buku physically kita akan selak buku dan sebagainya. We have that same gesture if we read a digital book in iPad. For example, kita boleh swipe, kita boleh highlight, kita boleh bookmark. So benda tu sangat match with the real world. So in terms of dia punya learning curve, kita boleh cakap learning curve kan. Learning curve dia macam mana seseorang tu nak adapt daripada physical ataupun into a digital punya application, into digital punya world, dia tak jauh lari. So dia punya learning curve tu kita sangat minimal. Okay, so that is what match between system and real world. For example, kita ada satu sampel kat sini kan, dia adalah satu advertisement punya company. So instead of using a sign up punya button, dia buat button tu jadi yes, I want Neil to teach me how to grow my business as a button. Okay, so somehow dia sangat relate with the nature dalam real world, di mana kita nak yes, saya nak benda ni, saya nak ni, bukannya kita today sign up ke dan sebagainya kan. So jom kita try explore sikit pasal match between system and the real world ni. So kalau saya ambil example mudah, kita ambil lebih kurang sama juga dengan ni kan. Kita ambil apa kita ambil icon, kita ambil not success punya ni lah. Okay, alright. So success kamera. Okay. So apa yang kita boleh tulis kat sini kalau benda tu sukses?
Unsuccessfully.
Unsuccessfully kan. So kat sini contohnya, okay, kita ambil dia bold. Adakah kita nak tulis macam ni? Adakah kita nak guna term-term macam arrow 404 ke kan? So of course tak kan. So kita buat kalau even kita nak tulis error sahaja pun sebenarnya tak appropriate lah. So ataupun kita nak buat fail. So instead of ni, kita boleh tulis macam lebih kepada match to the to the real world. Maybe kita boleh buat there's one term saya nak highlightkan benda kat sini. Kalau anda perasan dekat Maybank, dia ada satu term ni dia panggil humanizing. Okay, humanizing. Kita nak benda tu rasa macam kita berinteraksi dengan human kan. So I think this is very close with the second principle, which is match between system and real world. Okay, so kalau kat sini instead of kita tulis fail ataupun error 404, kita boleh cakap macam normally macam oops, your submission is decline. Okay, for example, kan. So selalunya apabila kat sini, nanti kita ada touch satu lagi point lah, itu nanti kita akan fikir. So in terms of term yang kita guna tu adalah sangat similar with the outside world, the real world. Okay, so salah satu contoh yang ada juga available kat outside world, kalau dari segi physical punya object, for example kita ada Apple Pencil. Ada siapa-siapa biasa guna Apple Pencil? Kalau dekat iPad tu, kalau kita ada tulis type, kalau kita ada tulis apa-apa, kita type ke apa ke, Kalau kita pangkah dekat perkataan, sesetengah perkataan tu, dia akan remove benda tu, dia akan delete. So dia punya gesture tu sangat similar with the outside world. Kalau kita menulis, kalau kita ada salah, kita just strike out kan. So it's similar with iPad. Diorang buat satu gesture yang sama, which is kalau dia guna iPad, Apple Pencil tu, dia strike out dekat certain perkataan, dia akan remove perkataan tu. So that is also match between system and real world. Another part is,
Natanya, this interface, can we write, oops, please return, reload again. Then we put the button there.
yes,
Is it okay?
yes, that's okay. That's actually touch another point that I want to highlight later on. So that one is actually, it helps the user to recover from error. We should have that. Okay, I'm actually going to touch that later on. But okay, this one is more focusing in terms of how we want to make it more relate to the real world. Thank you. Is that Yuki? Is that you, Yuki?
No.
Oh no, sorry. Okay, can I have your name?
Chong Jiajin.
Chong Jiajin. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Cool. That's actually good. Very good point. We can actually have that in the next principle where we want to prevent, we want to help user to recover from error. Okay, we're going to touch that later on. Okay, so for example, kalau another example of this prevent match between system and real world ni is kalau kita tengok dekat online shop kan, macam Shopee ke apa ke kan, if we see dia punya filter tu, kita ada apa? Dia punya apa? Kita nak cari barang selalunya, okay, dia ada filter kan. Filter tu dia ikut apa? What is the word?
Kategori.
Kategori. Nice, good job. Siapa tu?
Haris.
Haris. Oh, Haris. Okay. Terima kasih Haris. So Haris, thank you. So, kategori. Kenapa kita ada kategori tu? Okay, sebab kita nak memudahkan user lah. Sebab we cannot have every single item inside the directory kan. So what we have is actually dia punya kategori. Kategori it touches more, kalau in the UX punya perspective, it touch more on the IA punya function. IA, which is information architecture. There's a lot of method that we can use, how we want to prioritize in terms of how we categorize those items. Tapi that one is, that will serve into another discussion lah kan. Tapi that is IA. Kalau kita tengok dekat online punya site, e-commerce punya site, kita ada kategori. So kita ada kategori, kita ada toys, kita ada baby, kita ada women's fashion, we got men's fashion for example kan. This is quite similar with the real world if we want to compare, if we go to the supermarket for example. Kalau kita pergi beli barang kan, kita ada kat situ, kita ada barangan susu ataupun dekat situ ada chicken, ada eggs, ada ni, ada bread, ada fruits, ada vegetable. So dekat situ pun agak similar juga. Macam mana kita categorizekan benda tu supaya it actually match with the real world. Kita ada categorization of those items yang kita nak showcase dalam kita punya sistem. Okay, that is one of it lah. So let's move on to the next one, which is user control and freedom. Let's see, user control and freedom.
Have you ever said a friendly hello to someone and then got caught in a long, drawn-out conversation? You might have wanted out of it, but couldn't think of a polite exit. Because there's no way to undo that hello, you might begin to avoid such niceties in the future. User control and freedom is one of Jacob Nielsen's 10 usability heuristics. It states that users often choose system functions by mistake and need a clearly marked emergency exit to leave that unwanted state. Basically, support undo and redo. A common example would be the back and forward buttons on every web browser. Imagine if that didn't exist. You'd have to be really confident in every single click as you navigate around the web, because there'd be no easy way to get back to where you were if you clicked to visit a page and realized it wasn't what you needed. Similarly, any process or mode in any digital system should include a way for users to back out when needed. And websites can't only rely on those browser buttons, but should provide users a clear way to leave a stepped process or cancel whatever it was they started on that web page itself. Undo or cancel is particularly important for mobile devices and other touchscreens, where accidental taps are common. And again, these emergency exits should be clearly marked. For instance, many people have no clue that some mobile apps allow undo by shaking the device, just like you could shake to erase the classic Etch-a-Sketch toy. If users never discover a feature, does it even exist? When it's easy for people to back out of an unwanted process or undo an action, it fosters a sense of freedom because they realize they don't need to be afraid to click on that link or test out that photo filter. They know that if it turns out to not be what they wanted, they can easily undo that action. They're always in control of the system and aren't going to get stuck somewhere they didn't intend.
All right. So the third principle, which is user control and freedom. So this is touch where Miss Chong Jia Jin tadi about the design kind. So this one. So for example, when a user perform a mistake apa ke, there should be a way, a freedom, a flexibility that we provide to the user to undo, to return, to recover from that state. Okay, so this is where the user control and freedom comes. So kalau kita tengok a sample yang kita boleh nampak, kalau dekat Gmail, kalau kita delete for example atau kita remove a certain email, kita ada notification dekat atas tu where we can actually undo straight from the notification tu. Okay, so it's very helpful. For example, kalau kat sini kita nak discard ke apa ke, kita boleh discard the post ataupun kita boleh keep. Kita provide that option the user to still keep that file for example, kan? So kalau kita what are the sample yang kita boleh pakai? For example kat sini macam tadi Chong Jia Jin ada cakap, oops, your submission is declined. What we can do is actually we can have another line here saying that, okay, do you want to resubmit? Kat sini kita boleh jadikan dia line, and then kita boleh provide one button kat here. Kita boleh cakap try again. So we provide that option actually for the user to try to recover from that error. So kalau benda buat, so for example kita nak upload satu file tu tak jadi ke apa ke, ataupun kita tersilap delete ke apa ke, kita boleh provide that option kat user, do you want to undo this action? So kita boleh have that in our system for example. This will touch on the second point tu lah, which is user control and freedom. Another thing saya nak highlight kat sini, I think this is quite, there's a term for it in your UX world, which is they call it as dark UX. Dark UX ni for example kalau saya nak one sample yang saya boleh jumpa is kalau kita nak unsubscribe daripada newsletter. So are you sure you want to unsubscribe from this newsletter? So this is kadang-kadang benda ni sangat annoying dan user tu dia nak unsubscribe. So bila kita pergi dekat every email, spam punya email, kalau awak tengok kan dekat every spam email tu, dekat bawah sekali spam email tu, diorang perlu sertakan satu unsubscribe ni button. So bila unsubscribe ni dia akan jump into that platform that website, and then dia akan tanya macam ni, are you sure you want to unsubscribe from this newsletter? Dan dekat bawah ni dia akan provide dua button kan, dua button, which is satu ni mungkin dia akan jadikan dia stroke sahaja, dan dekat sini dia tulis yes, I want to unsubscribe. Tapi dekat sebelah dia sorry. Satu lagi button dia tulis no go back. Tapi button go back ni dia highlightkan as sorry. Dia highlightkan macam ni. So kat sini, ini adalah salah satu contoh kita panggil dalam UX punya term as a dark UX. Dia sengaja highlightkan no go back ni supaya dia tak nak orang keluar daripada newsletter, daripada newsletter website dia. So dekat sini adalah sepatutnya user akan tekan. Bila dia buat macam ni, secara tidak langsung, user tu akan tekan benda ni lah. So dari segi user control and freedom tu dia agak melencong sikit, so we call it as a dark UX. So this is one sample of dark UX lah. Are you sure you want to unsubscribe? Sepatutnya kita tekan ni tapi dia highlightkan benda ni. Dia dengan sengaja dia highlightkan benda ni. So ini kita panggil as a dark UX. So let's move on to the next point, which is consistency and standard.
One of Jacob's 10 heuristics for UI design is to maintain consistency and adhere to standards. This heuristic is crucial for ensuring that your UI is predictable and learnable. People shouldn't have to wonder whether different words, symbols, situations, or actions mean the same thing. We can think about two types of consistency as it applies to UX design: internal consistency and external consistency. Internal consistency refers to maintaining consistency within a product or a family of products. For example, maybe your visual designers decide to use a specific shade of orange to highlight actionable elements, things like call to action buttons. If you decided to then use that orange to highlight a static heading, you'd be breaking internal consistency. That might be a problem because it violates the established meaning of that visual treatment. Users may no longer be able to rely on it to help them determine which elements in your UI are actionable. External consistency refers to maintaining consistency outside of products. You might have established conventions for UIs in your industry or even established conventions for UIs in general. For example, most e-commerce sites have a shopping cart feature. People are familiar with this feature because they see it anytime they use an e-commerce site. They have existing expectations for how that feature should work and where it should be placed. In the upper right corner of the screen, usually. Jacob's law can help us to understand why external standards are so important. Jacob's law states that people spend most of their time on sites other than yours. If all of those other sites follow a consistent convention, but your site breaks that convention, you're forcing people to learn something new. There are times when breaking conventions can be worthwhile. Maybe you just figured out a new and better pattern. Just remember, you're adding to your users' cognitive load every time you make them learn something new, so you should only do it when it's absolutely necessary. In most cases, it's best to maintain consistency, both internal and external, to improve your product's learnability.
All right, this is very good point juga. Consistency and standards. Okay, consistency and standard. So consistency and standard dia ada dua, which is internal consistency dengan external consistency. So internal consistency is within your application, within your system, within your apps, and the external one is yours comparing with the outside world punya ni. I think the shopping cart tu is very spot on punya representative of external consistency. Kenapa kita kena ada that? Because people are very used to that format, that method, which is cart. Dia punya icon mesti lambang trolley, and then dia punya position mesti kena top right. So tiba-tiba kalau tiba-tiba kita nak buat certain contohnya card kat sini, your card, instead of letak kat atas ni, kita letak dekat bottom right, for example. So kita somehow introducing a new experience for the user, dan the user tu will actually create an effort for them to learn your system. So that is what we don't want to do lah when we create a system kan. Benda tu kalau it's a very common punya ni, kita ada kat dekat atas, we should follow that that is external punya sample. Kalau internal punya, for example, kita ada kat sini, kita ada even as small as simple as color, for example kan. Contohnya kita ada continue to check out dekat sini. Okay. And then tiba-tiba kita ada another button, kita buat warna merah, for example kan. Tiba-tiba kita ada sorry, kita tak boleh buat warna merah lah. Ini tak boleh. Kita buat another button. Instead of blue, kita buat green. So dalam sistem kita kena ada consistency lah. Tak boleh lah dekat upload a video, tiba-tiba button dia, button upload dia warna biru, tiba-tiba upload a photo, dia punya button warna hijau. So kita tak ada that consistency. How we can actually try to avoid this is actually by using kita punya design system. Okay, for example ni. So kita dah define siap-siap benda ni. So kita dah tahu kalau kita nak guna hijau, apa color code dia. Kalau kita nak guna merah, apa color code dia. Kalau kita nak guna warning, apa dia punya color. So this is one of it lah. Primary color warna biru. So nampak tak tadi button dia guna, button submission dia guna warna biru. Kalau success, kita guna warna hijau. Kalau danger, kita guna warna merah, warning warna kuning. And then kalau ada info, kita buat another color. This is one of the method that we use to have that internal consistency. Salah satu we call it as a UI kit. Ini UI kit daripada Bootstrap, for example. Siapa tahu ada sample design system daripada outside world? Siapa tahu? Ada siapa-siapa biasa tak tengok? Siapa tahu design system untuk Google? Apa nama dia? Anyone?
Material UI.
Material UI kan? Siapa tu
Basiman.
Basiman.
Saya.
Okay, Basiman. Terima kasih Basiman. Yes. Material design we call it. So material design is one of the sample of we call it as a design system. So, most of the company sekarang ni, diorang sangat-sangat focus on design system, including Petronas and outside world jugalah. So this is one of the sample of a good and matured punya design system, which is created by Google. I think back in 2014 if I'm not mistaken. So kalau kita tengok dia punya growth tu daripada 2014 sampai sekarang ni, kalau kita tengok all Google punya product has a very similar punya look and feel because they are having this the same design system kan. For example, kita nak guna navigation, macam mana navigation dia punya navigation macam mana in terms of layout, apa dia punya layout, dia punya responsive punya layout grid, semua ada ni, and it's open for people to follow as well, especially the developer lah. So you guys boleh tengok benda ni. And then another thing, kalau you guys are very obsessed with all this development apa kan, you can try to create your own design system. Trust me, kalau you all ada design system sendiri, for example, you call it lah. For example, kita ada Zarif ke, Basiman design for example. And then you guys ada create your own layout, macam mana you guys nak buat, every time you guys nak navigate, apa color yang you guys nak define, apa typography yang you guys nak guna, apa you punya icon punya konsep, icon punya family yang nak pakai, buat sendiri. Kalau you pergi ke interview, kalau Basiman pergi ke interview, tunjuk, okay, I'm a web developer, this is one of the sample that I create for myself, which is my own design system. I call it as a Basiman design, for example lah kan. And then you have this similar structure of design system. So this will bring a very high value to you lah. So siapa-siapa yang berminat boleh try create, because I know someone yang pernah have their own design system and it actually get her a new job lah, a very good job. So siapa-siapa yang berminat boleh ni. So this is the between the consistency standards, consistency and standards. We have internal dengan external. So external is on the, for example, shopping cart, kita ada download punya button, selalunya arrow ke bawah. So it's a very common way. Tiba-tiba kita nak buat download button, kita buat gambar bulat ke, gambar 4 segi ke, 3 segi ke. So itu dah tak konsisten dengan outside world kan. So kita kena have that consistency internally and also externally. So let's go to the next point, which is error prevention. I think this is one of my favorite punya principle. Let's go to error prevention.
It's happened to all of us. You go to your inbox, you open an email, and you see it. It's something that has been sent, not just to the recipient, but reply all to everyone, including lots of people it wasn't supposed to go to. Sometimes we've been on the receiving end and it's cringeworthy, but of course it's even more mortifying if you are actually the sender and you've sent something now to your entire workplace of 200,000 people or your campus or your community. That is not user error. In fact, it's the design error. The design failed to prevent the user from accidentally clicking that reply all button. Now, this concept of error prevention is one of Jacob Nielsen's heuristics. It's one of the most important concepts to have good usability in a design. Let me show you something I found the other day that was actually wonderful. This is my electric toothbrush, which does a great job cleaning my teeth, but it also has a nice feature designed to prevent me from forgetting to charge it. When I finish brushing my teeth and its battery's running low, it vibrates 3 times. It makes a little sound. It goes burp, 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 something like that. And that tells me that I need to plug it in. Now, what's the worst that can happen if I forget to charge this toothbrush? I can still brush my teeth just fine. But there are plenty of designs where the stakes are actually really high. Those of you who might be designing things for use in medical scenarios, in transportation, in security or finance, where if someone accidentally starts to reach for the wrong button, it could have really serious and damaging consequences. So error prevention is critical. So if you're looking at your designs, I want you to start with the issues that might cause severe damage. Then go down and look at things that you can do to prevent simple annoyances and frustrations and prevent people from having to redo their work. Sometimes these are simple fixes like changing size, the color or placement, location of a button. Sometimes changing the texture of a button if you're in the physical world. Other times it's offering a confirmation dialogue that says, are you sure you want to transfer all of your money to this other account? It's worth the interruption because you want to prevent an accidental transfer. And last, having an undo button is a great way to at least prevent errors from becoming permanent. So if someone goes down that path of making a mistake, they can still catch it and hopefully undo. So when you're looking through your designs, take the time to find out ways that you can stop errors before they happen. And in the meantime, stay clear of that reply all button.
Okay, so this is the 5th principle, which is the error prevention. This is very interesting punya principle. So a good another sample of error prevention yang kita ada kan, for example dekat Google, kalau kita search, kita typing, even kalau kita typo pun, it actually provide you some suggestion kan. Some suggestion tu actually dia boleh is very accurate. So benda ni kita boleh call it as a error prevention juga. So another part, for example, kalau kita tengok zoom in sikit kat sini, kalau kita nak create a password, for example, password tu terlalu pendek ke apa ke, takkanlah kita nak tekan submit baru kita nak bagi tahu, oh your password is too short ke apa ke. So bila kita dengan cara Google ni, dia as the user go along, it actually provide you a suggestion. So they call it as a password punya strength. So if the password is too short, it will actually bagi tahu siap-siap, okay, it's too short, your strength is good ke apa ke, and then boleh submit. So tak perlulah user tu nak type a password, lepas tu tekan submit, dia cakap okay, your password too short. Tekan submit lagi, it's too short ke apa ke apa. So we actually provide that guidance for the user saying that okay, your password is too short, you need to have at least 8 characters, don't use any password from on the side and whatever. Okay, so this is one of the method that a good sample of error prevention. Okay, another error prevention yang kita boleh guna, for example kalau kita go to sample ni kan, siapa tahu okay. Okay. Okay, dekat sini for example dia suruh letak email. Lepas tu dia letak ini you@example.com. Benda ni kita panggil apa? Ada siapa tahu tak term ni? There's actually a term for it. Yes, nice. Siapa tu? Adeli. Yes, we call it as a placeholder. Terima kasih Adeli. So placeholder. So placeholder ni is very simple tapi the impact is quite high. Sebabnya kita dapat tahu apa yang kita nak fill up kat situ. A suggestion. So country choose. And then dekat email ni kita ada placeholder kat sini juga. So once kita klik, benda tu akan disappear lah. And then kita boleh letak kita punya email. So this is one of the sample yang kita boleh tengok dalam error prevention. And kalau kita tengok even dekat, kalau sesiapa biasa guna MacBook ke apa ke, MacBook ni bila kita nak letak password kita, bila kita nak login, kita nak buka MacBook, kita nak login, kalau andai kata kita tersilap tekan caps lock, it actually prompt to the user saying that, hey, your caps lock is on. So dekat situ kita boleh tahu user tak adalah nak tekan tekan tapi tak boleh kan. Sebenarnya caps lock tengah on. So bila kita tekan caps lock, what Apple do is actually it tells the user saying that hey, your caps lock is on. So it still allow the user to do the action, tapi at the same time it remind the user saying that hey, your caps lock is on, all your password will be a capital letter. Okay, so that is one of the sample. Kalau kita tengok dekat booking tiket flight for example dekat AirAsia, kalau kita nak book a ticket, kalau kita nak book backdated punya date, it doesn't allow us to do so. Okay, so that is one of the error prevention punya system. For example, kita nak book, tak kisahlah book tiket ke, book tiket flight ke, book tiket bus, book buku ke apa ke, kita tak boleh nak select, kita boleh select dia punya time tu kan, kita tak boleh select date sebelum hari ni, yang previous date. Maknanya dia benda tu dah disable siap-siap. So it prevent the user to select those backdated punya date. So that is one of the error prevention example. Kalau kita tengok dekat outside world for example, kita ada sample macam okay, saya ada macam ni kan, Nintendo Switch. So this is Nintendo Switch kan. Kalau kita cakap pasal error prevention, sebab benda ni kita boleh cabut for example, nampak kan. So what if I turn it terbalik for example. So sebenarnya boleh je masuk. Tapi kalau kita dari segi industrial punya design, what if we make it only boleh masuk dekat satu hala je, which is the right side, kan? I think that would be useful juga. So this is one example lah, yang for example yang I think Nintendo boleh improve. So for example kalau budak-budak kan, dia main letak je kan, tiba-tiba dia masuk terbalik, sebenarnya benda tu boleh rosakkan kita punya device juga. So this is one the error prevention yang kita boleh create even outside from digital world into a real world punya situation. So kalau diorang punya industrial punya design bagus, perhaps dia doesn't allow pun user untuk masukkan terbalik. So this is one of the sample lah, Nintendo Switch yang kita ada. So that is on error prevention. I think other than error prevention punya sample, yang very common is dia punya notification lah. If you want to submit everything ke apa ke, kita kena make sure yang, are you sure you want to submit this application, this file, or are you sure kalau dari segi industri punya work, kalau anything related to approval, itu perlukan a bit attention. Kalau benda tu melibatkan satu decision, a big decision, for example kita nak approve procurement ke, kita nak beli device harga 100,000 ke apa ke, bila kita tekan approve, terus approve. So benda tu somehow is a bad experience lah. It should actually prompt to the user saying that, are you sure you want to submit it? Because we don't want the user to accidentally click that button without knowing the consequences. So we provide the option saying that, macam tadi person from NNG mentioned, it worth that time for you to provide that option for the user to saying that, are you sure you want to submit this, are you sure you want to approve this request, kan? So sangat penting and then it actually, kalau dulu-dulu saya pernah dengar cerita ada incident where benda ni error prevention ni, it actually creates a very high consequences lah. For example, if something millions being approved accidentally, that you can actually solve by having this confirmation punya pop-up ni, nampak tak effect dia? You will lose millions just for the sake of this confirmation punya pop-up yang you tak provide. Okay, remember. So error prevention sangat-sangat penting. So when we do the heuristic evaluation, when we look through kita punya application ataupun orang punya application ke apa ke, kita kena try to identify how we can prevent the user from doing the error. Okay, that is the fifth one. Let's proceed with the next one, which is the recognition.
One of the top 10 usability heuristics advises to promote recognition over recall in user interfaces. So what are recognition and recall? And why is recognition easier than recall? Let's take an example. If I ask you a question, such as, is Lisbon the capital of Portugal? Answering it involves recognition. You simply have to recognize whether the information provided is correct. If instead I asked you, what is the capital of Portugal? You would use a process of recall to retrieve the right answer from your memory. Memory retrieval is made easier by the cues that we receive from the context. All those cues send signals to related information that is stored in our memory. The more cues we have, the easier it is to retrieve the right concept from memory. The big difference between recognition and recall is the number of cues provided by the context that can help the memory retrieval. Recall involves fewer cues than recognition. A menu system is the most classic example of a recognition-based user interface. Computer shows you the available commands and you recognize the one you want. Say, for example, that you're working with a word processor and you want to cross a sentence out to indicate it's no longer valid. Before the graphical user interfaces, if you used a command line editor, you would have to recall the name of this rarely used formatting feature. The recall is difficult and error-prone. With a graphical user interface, however, you look at the menu of formatting options and easily recognize the term strike through or an icon for that function. Interfaces that promote recognition give users extra help in remembering information. Minimizing user work is essential for a good user experience. So that's why we recommend that you strive to promote recognition over recall in your UIs.
All right. Recognition rather than recall. I think that the sample that she gave is very clear. For example, is Lisbon is a capital of Portugal, and another one is what is the capital city of Portugal? So it create the question is similar, tapi the effect to the user tu berbeza. So recognition is better. So kalau kita tengok kat sini, in recognition rather than recall. So for example, kalau kita nak search an article dekat Quora kan, so kita type in, it actually provide you the whole line of suggestion of that topics question. So this is one of the sample. Another sample that we can have is actually kalau kita tengok dekat checkout page kan, kalau kita, okay, this is a checkout form, checkout form kan. So dekat checkout form, usually the cards, the item that you are going to purchase, it will list out everything. For example, kita ada 10 barang, tiba-tiba dia show only top 3, lepas tu dekat bawah tu dia tulis dia hide and then dia cakap see more. Usually in checkout punya form, we don't actually do that. Sebabnya it provide a big decision by the user. So the user needs to be aware what are the things that dia ambil tadi masa dia tengah shopping dekat ni, dekat Shopee ke for example, dia dah ambil banyak-banyak barang. So kadang-kadang dia tak ingat, dia tak ni. So it's better for us to provide that recognition to the user rather than having the user to recall themselves what they already purchased, what they already add into their cart. So that's the difference. So bila kita buat checkout page for example, every item tu dia perlu tahu, dia perlu review before dia boleh proceed. Kalau kita hide, for example, kalau dia ada 50 item, even 50 item pun, kalau kita hide a certain item, the user might not have the ability to recall whatever that she or he added into dia punya cart. Okay, that is recognition rather than recall. So let's proceed because we are running out of time juga. Let's proceed with the next point, which is flexibility.
Imagine that you're writing an email to a large group of people. You need to send roughly the same email with a few small changes. You could write a brand new message for each person, or you could reuse most of the same message. To do that, you could highlight the similar text, click Edit in the top menu, and then Copy. Maybe you could highlight the passage, right-click, and choose Copy. Or, for maximum quickness, just select and Command-C. That simple copy action can be successfully carried out in a number of different ways. It's a flexible and efficient process. Heuristic number 7 of the 10 usability heuristics deals with this idea. Flexible processes can be carried out in different ways so that people can pick whichever method fits them. That flexibility helps people be more efficient. If a system lets me choose my method of interaction, I can get things done in a way that's quick and comfortable for me. That keyboard shortcut, the handy Command-C, is an accelerator. An accelerator is any option or action that speeds up an interaction. Accelerators are there for more experienced users who know a system well and want to make routine tasks go by more quickly. Highly usable systems are flexible enough to be efficient for experts and friendly to newbies. It's important not to overwhelm first-time users with too much information. Don't try to teach them every action on the system in the very first session of use. That's too much to learn all at once. Accelerators are often seen in the wild in work and productivity-related applications. If you work in design, you're likely familiar with the many keyboard shortcuts that help you work in your interface design program of choice more quickly. If you work extensively with data analysis, you're likely very familiar with macros in Excel or Google Sheets. But accelerators can show up just about anywhere. For most of us, Instagram isn't a work-related product, but there's still a hidden accelerator there. If you're a frequent user of the social media app, you may know that you can quickly like a photo by tapping twice on a photo. That's quicker and slightly more efficient than finding and tapping the heart icon. When the seventh heuristic is done well, expert users won't be slowed down by a system that's only built with basic use in mind. New users won't be overwhelmed by an information overload of actions to learn.
Right, cool. So the seventh principle, flexibility, efficiency of use. So a good sample that she told us just now is on the Instagram, kan? So very efficient for us. Kalau Instagram kita nak like gambar tu, instead of tekan yang gambar heart icon yang kecil tu, kita boleh double tap dekat gambar tu, dia terus like. So that is one of the features which is very efficient for the user lah. It makes the task quicker lah, kan? So one of the items yang kita boleh look at is on the shortcut. So shortcut, for example, kalau kita tengok dekat Photoshop ke apa ke, kita ada quick selection tool, kita boleh tekan W. They provide the option for the user to quickly select a certain tools, okay, dekat Photoshop. So one of the other option, kita provide that flexibility untuk user personalize sendiri apa yang dia nak, kan. So kat sini kita ada option from Mac. Kita actually boleh sorry, this one is Sketch. So kita boleh drag a favorite item into the toolbar. So kita boleh ada shape, kita ada pencil tool ke apa ke, kita boleh masukkan dalam toolbar ni. Toolbar ni akan personalize ikut kita punya preference. So if we provide this option, it actually creates a flexibility and efficiency for the user to use. Okay, so let's move on to the aesthetic and also minimalist design.
One of Jacob's 10 heuristics for interfaces is to use an aesthetic and minimalist design. That heuristic doesn't mean that you have to use a flat design or a monochromatic color palette. It's more about making sure that you're keeping the content and the visual design of your UI focused on the essentials. This is closely related to the human-computer interaction concept of a signal-to-noise ratio. The signal-to-noise ratio represents the ratio of relevant to irrelevant information. In a user interface, the information involved in this ratio could be anything: text content, visual elements, or animation. Essentially, anything that users have to process could count as signal or noise. To improve the efficiency of communicating information through your designs and to help users complete their tasks, aim for a high signal-to-noise ratio. Every extra unit of information in a UI competes with the relevant units of information and diminishes their relative visibility. As a consequence, it's important to prioritize your content and features. If something would be used infrequently or by a small number of users who don't contribute much to your company's goals, it might be a candidate for removal. It's also important to make sure that the visuals, particularly graphics or photos, support the primary goals of users or your company. In other words, you shouldn't have many visual elements that aren't there for any other reason than to look pretty or to take up space. Communicate, don't decorate.
All right. So I think this is very straightforward. Aesthetic and minimalist design. So kalau if we are looking at this the product itself, kan, if we see a good sample of this aesthetic and minimalist is on the Google itself. Kalau kita pergi ke Google punya search, there's nothing else in the screen except the search bar. Okay. So there's not even a texture ke, even a color background ke apa ke, tak ada. And then they just ada search kat situ and then boleh Google search. So this actually provide that aestheticness and also minimalist in a design. So another sample of it, kalau kita tengok macam Apple, kan. Apple, kalau kita tengok, dia lebih fokus, very focus into what they want to show to the user. So dekat atas tu, kalau kita pergi ke landing page Apple, kalau kita tengok ada the latest product from them, and then kalau kita select each one of them, kita boleh tengok a bar of selected product yang kita boleh select throughout the navigation throughout the portal kan. So that is one of the sample juga. Another thing yang kita boleh tengok kalau how we can improve this aesthetic and minimalist design, you guys boleh baca mengenai dengan Gestalt principle, GESTALT principle. Gestalt principle, it actually teach you how you design something very focusing in terms of what we want to show, what you want to prioritize in your design. So boleh baca pasal Gestalt principle on that aesthetic and minimalist design. Let's move on to help user recognize, diagnose and recover from error.
One of Jacob's 10 heuristics for UI design is to help users recognize, diagnose, and recover from errors. We can make sure that we meet that heuristic in several ways. I'll give you 3 recommendations plus some examples. First, clearly inform users when an error has occurred. One of the simplest ways to do this is with an error message. Depending on the context, you might combine the messaging with a visual treatment, like red text or a warning sign. If a user skips a field in Nordstrom.com's checkout process, they see a combination of visual treatments and an error message. This clearly shows the user that an error has occurred. Second, we need to tell users what the problem is. It's important to use plain language at this step. Lowe's 404 error page quickly explains what went wrong. The page is missing or moved. Third, we should offer a way to fix the error. That might mean providing concise instructions for how to correct the problem, but the best thing to do is to offer a shortcut in the error messaging, not just instructions for how to go fix the problem in the UI, but something that they can click or tap right now to solve the problem. For example, if a user hits an empty result set on kayak.com, they see this error message. It quickly explains the problem, too many filters, and proposes a solution, which is great. But they take it a step further by providing removable filters right next to the error message, so the user can take action right away. Sometimes the best way to help users recover from errors is to provide an undo function. Gmail does a great job with this. After the user sends an email, it offers the option to undo. And of course, the very best thing we can do to help users recover from errors is to try to come up with ways to prevent those errors in the first place. But that's another one of the 10 heuristics, error prevention.
All right. So this is the
in several ways.
Nice principle kan? Help user recognize, diagnose and recover from error. Kalau perhatikan dia punya ni is quite similar with the third one, which is the user freedom, where it actually allow the user to recover and move around into that application or software ke apa. And then it touches on the error prevention lah. Okay, so for a good sample of this help user recognize, diagnose and recover from error, kalau for example dalam MailChimp kita ada these two ni. So if we accidentally tulis username yang salah, dia bagi tahu in detail, we couldn't find an account with that username, can we help you to recover your username and the username to underline and it actually clickable. Bila kita klik, it provide you a solution of a flow where the user can recover dia orang punya username. The same goes to the password. Kalau password tu salah, dia cakap that password isn't right, we can help you to recover your password. So benda tu it actually provide the user to recover your password from that particular notification itself within the application. Okay, so let's move on to the last usability principle, which is help and documentation.
The 10th principle of Jacob Nielsen's 10 usability heuristics concerns help and documentation. Now, while we as UX designers strive to make products and services as intuitive to use as possible, sometimes users will need help, as interfaces are growing increasingly complex. For example, just think how many different gestures could be used in a single mobile application. While help pages are still helpful, help and documentation can come in many different forms, such as app onboarding pages, walkthroughs, tooltips, popovers, videos, chatbots, web chat, and so on. When applying this principle, consider the following. Is it easy to search for help? Is the documentation focused on the user's task? Does the help documentation list concrete steps to be carried out? Let's look at some examples. Latote.com, a clothing rental company, has a help center where users can search their query as a question and suggested FAQs populate underneath. The search results are easy to scan as they phrased as a question, which helps users understand easily whether any of the suggested results would be helpful to them. Wayfair, an online home goods site, also has a help center, but you'll notice its search feature isn't as easy to use because there's a 30-character limit on the search field. Also, the auto-suggested results are just pages. The user will have to click on one of these to understand whether their query is answered within, and that's increasing the interaction costs for the user. Help documentation should be focused on the user's task. A great way to do this is to make help contextual, i.e. it's provided as the user performs the task. Skyscanner provides contextual help in the form of a popover. When the user clicks on the destination field, Skyscanner shows the user an option for search, searching by all destinations. This help is timely and focused on the user's task. Lastly, any help documentation should list concrete steps the user should perform. Asana does a nice job of interspersing screenshots on their help pages with visually prominent steps for the user to follow. No user likes having to read documentation, so where possible, provide help in that timely way by thinking about when users might require help performing their tasks. When writing documentation, ensure it's easy to search. Use analytics and insight from usability testing to ensure search performs in the way users expect. Lastly, ensure your documentation has scannable steps and don't overload your users with unnecessary information.
Right, that is the last principle of heuristic, which is help and documentation. A quick one, a good sample. Let me show you guys a good sample of help and documentation. For example, kita ada this one is GoDaddy, and another sample yang I think quite close to us juga is on Grab. So it provide you this option where the user can actually search for a solution within the existing punya Q&A, the free Q&A, sorry, not Q&A, FAQ, frequently asked questions. So dekat sini ada semua ni, but you still have that option to navigate through the help punya documentation tu kan. So it will be easy for the user to have that option where they want to refer, how they want to solve a problem, for example, kan. So this is one option. So this is actually the 10 principle of heuristic evaluation. Okay. Just a quick recap. The number one is visibility of system status. Kita ada match between system and the real world. Kita ada user control and freedom. Kita ada consistency and standards. Error prevention. Kita ada recognition rather than recall. Kita ada flexibility and efficiency of use. Aesthetic and minimalist design. Help user recognize, diagnose and recover from errors. Help and documentation. So throughout the session kita ada create some sample juga, and I think I have a very good response from you guys juga on how we can actually try to tackle some of the pain points yang kita dah highlight tadi kan, based on the heuristic principle. So thank you so much. I think that's about it for heuristic, but I just want to explain a bit in terms of how you actually do this heuristic evaluation kan. So heuristic evaluation is actually not something that you can do alone. Usually what you Jacob Nielsen dia recommend 3 to 5 person to do this evaluation. So we can have a multiple angle of feedback from this evaluation yang towards the end of the day kita boleh combine, sit down together and then kita boleh consolidate all the findings together kan. That what we do, even in Petronas pun kita ada buat macam tu. For example I give you a situation. There's an UI enhancement required for this project A. So they come to us saying that we need to do some research for this application, we need to improve the UI. So I think one of the most popular method that we are using is by doing this heuristic evaluation. What we do is actually we identify a few person from the team, 3 to 5 person, to sit down and do themselves this evaluation, go through every pages and every task by the user, and also to understand the user juga to have that empathy, to know the persona, and then you need to know what are the action that the user will do in that application, in that software, in that product, and then you will evaluate that system based on these 10 principle. So bila kita dah ada punya sample tu, I actually ada create one here. This is one of the sample of how we want to measure the severity of that findings. Bila kita go through a certain website, a certain system ke apa ke, bila kita find something that potentially can be improved based on the heuristic punya principle, what we can actually include is actually this severity punya measurement. Kita ada low, medium dengan high. How we want, it's easier for us to measure lah. So low is something that is very minor. Mostly it involve a cosmetic problems. For example, macam font size macam tak sama, alignment macam lari. So that we consider it as a low. Medium is a major punya usability problem. It's important to fix. So it will be given a high priority juga. Bila medium ni, contohnya dia punya button terlalu kecil ke apa ke sampai user tak nampak, user tak jumpa button check out ke apa ke, that can consider as medium. And then we have another one is high. Sorry. Another one is high. So high ni we call it as a usability catastrophe. So it's very important for us to fix. Benda tu selalunya kalau merah ni, it prevent the user to complete an action, a task. So contohnya dia nak check out, tiba-tiba check out button tak ada, contoh lah. So that will consider as a very high punya severity. So bila kita dah run through a system, for example tadi ada project team request, we need to improve this website ke apa ke, I want to share you guys what are the samples that we did. So what we did is we create a document, and then for example kita define siap-siap the user, and then kita define focus area yang kita nak buat, because sometimes the project is so big that we cannot do the heuristic all at once. So we asked the project team saying that, which part are you looking forward to, like you want to improve, ada pain points, kat mananya user paling struggle to complete their action ke apa kan. So for example dia orang cakap user susah lah nak select produk daripada kita punya kita punya site tu. So daripada homepage ni kita ada focus area dia is as a requester, and then kita fokus dekat homepage punya filter for example. So dekat sini adalah kita ada provide screenshot daripada existing punya product. So this is the filter punya option that they had, and then bila kita ada write down the issue here, apa yang kita rasa tak bagus, and then kita ada indicate with the numbers as well. And then after that what we do, we actually provide the recommendations. So this is the recommendation. For example, kita ada filter based on the category, kita ada provide the punya number of item in each category, so that will be helpful. For example, if we are selecting EPRS, benda tu dia highlighted into a different color. So this is one option lah. And then for the filter punya ni, kita ada provide a very high range punya filter punya option for the user. So kat sini kita ada tulis lah, it touches on 2 different heuristic punya principle, which is number 8, aesthetic and minimalist design, and also 5, error prevention. So we call it as severity as M. Okay, this is the sample that we do for heuristic punya evaluation. So going back to my slide kan, let's go back to the slide. Okay, hold on. Alright. So that is actually all about heuristic yang saya nak share hari ni. So kenapa saya rasa heuristic ini penting, macam saya cakap tadi, kadang-kadang kita nak train kita punya designer punya eyes kan, macam mana kita tengok sesuatu, macam mana kita boleh measure that design flaws, design improvement, UI UX improvement yang kita boleh buat with that 10 principle in mind. So it's very useful. Even I had a new person coming into my team, saya selalu, the first thing I want them to do is actually they need to know what is UI UX all about, what are the rules, what are the process, and then I actually suka bagi diorang task to do this heuristic evaluation because they have a fresh eye, and then they can actually understand that 10 principle that is very useful for them in future. For example, when in future, when you do the heuristic evaluation, you understand that 10 principle. When you design a system, when you build a system, you actually have that in mind already. So bila you buat benda tu, bila you design suatu sistem tu, you dah tahu dah, okay, I need to provide some progress bar here. We need to provide some steps here. We need to provide an option the user to undo from this action. We need to provide a different color, a consistent color across my application. I need to have the same look and feel across my application. So bila dia dah tahu heuristic principle tu, it will be easier for them to like have a future involvement in any project. If they want to design, if they want to evaluate, if they want to research. So it's very useful. That is why saya share pasal heuristic pasal hari ni. So, semua okay ke? Boleh saya dengar everyone? Semua okay ke?
Okay.
Okay, alright.
Okay.
Kita dah dekat pukul 12 lah. So before kita end, saya nak buat Q&A sebenarnya, tapi saya nak share sikit, sorry, macam saya janji tadi, kenapa saya rasa FYP sangat penting dekat during our times in university kan. So saya nak cerita pasal FYP. So awak semua ni adalah pelajar tahun ketiga kan. So saya percayanya semua dah define title, dah ada title semua tu. And then what I want you to do is actually to focus on how you want to complete your final year project tu. So kenapa saya rasa FYP tu penting is because FYP is your one man show. It's something that you do end to end to create something that represent yourself, and it actually reflect the whole experience or the whole years that you guys are spending in university, which is to create something very valuable during your FYP. Sebabnya bila I understand some of the struggle yang well known in current world sekarang ni is bila kita nak pergi apply kerja lepas kita graduate is we don't have any experience other than internship of course. And actually to counter that one is actually by having your FYP. Sebabnya FYP can consider as your experience because you are doing everything yourself. You're doing the topic defend title, you guys present, you guys propose, you guys do documentation, you guys do research, you guys do design, you guys do the storyline, dia punya storyboard, you guys buat dia punya concept, you guys buat dia punya poster, you guys buat dia punya coding, you guys develop benda tu. So it's actually a end-to-end punya process that you guys did all alone with your friend, of course, kadang-kadang with the help of others as well. But it's on you actually. So kalau bila kita fresh grad, bila kita pergi apply kerja ke apa ke, when someone ask what kita punya experience, apa yang kita nak show kat diorang, nak bukti yang kita ni can do something, yang kita boleh contribute to their company, is by showing kita punya FYP. So saya nak share sikit pengalaman saya masa saya apply kerja dulu kan. So lepas saya internship, alhamdulillah saya diterima masuk ke company yang sama, seafood.com, untuk beberapa bulan. Saya banyak belajar masa saya dekat seafood.com sebab diorang adalah training punya provider. So saya banyak join diorang punya kelas, sementara saya assist diorang punya kelas, saya dapat join, saya dapat belajar sekali kan. So jadi bila saya dapat that call to have the interview with Petronas, I actually prepared everything during my my interview punya session tu. So during my FYP punya time, I dah plan siap-siap. I want to have a complete punya project. Saya nak ada that wow factor lah juga kan. So saya create macam-macam lah. Saya create a video about my project. Jom kita tengok kalau kita sempat kan. This is actually a video of my project. Kita tengok kejap lah that I created last time. Tak nampak
Tak bergerak.
Tak nampak. Tak nampak.
Tak nampak. Okey, sekejap Saya sebab dia open dekat. Okey. Sorry. So saya create video ni. Itu saja kejap. Let's go back. So itu je masa saya buat. Boleh nampak slide saya kan? Boleh nampak slide saya ke?
Boleh.
Ya. Yeah. So itu masa saya buat final year project masa tu, kita orang present final year project, kita orang present dekat dewan utama yang dekat depan tu, dekat bus stand dekat depan yang ada bank tu kan. Saya pernah lupa dah nama dewan tu. Dewan tu kita orang semua satu batch present dekat situ. So saya ada bawa monitor besar saya pasanglah video tu, and then saya pegang saya punya iPad, saya present dekat orang kan. Orang datang semua, saya showcase saya punya produk. So alhamdulillah saya dapat projek terbaik masa tu. Jadi bila saya pergi dapat interview ke Petronas tu, saya bawa iPad saya bawa buku saya. Bila saya nak jadikan cerita, masa saya tengah tunggu, saya dah finish first interview. Sementara saya tunggu second interview tu, saya terserempak dengan someone. Ada someone tu dia pakai coat smart semua, dia baru keluar daripada meeting room. Saya ingat lagi, saya tengah duduk diam-diam, saya macam dah takut lah masa tu kan untuk second interview kan. Macam mana lah ni, saya pegang iPad saya pegang buku saya, buku biru tu. Lepas tu pegawai tu datang lalu depan saya. And then dia tegur saya, dia cakap, what are you doing here? Lepas tu saya cakap, I'm doing my interview sir kan. Lepas tu cakap, can I see your your project kan. Lepas tu saya tunjuk kat buku dia, and then saya tunjuk iPad saya. Bila dia guna saya punya application tu, dia cakap, this is very good. And then ada akak daripada HR tu dekat sebelah saya. Pegawai tu cakap dengan HR tu cakap yang, this is very interesting. Hire him, dia cakap dekat HR tu. Saya pun macam terkejut. Lepas tu send him to my room. Lepas tu dia bagi iPad kat saya, dia bagi buku projek saya kat saya. Saya pun macam terpinga-pinga juga. Lepas tu akak HR tu cakap, that is actually Encik Izzuan Hasli. He's the COO of the company of Petronas ICT masa tu. Dia COO. So saya pun tanya macam, so saya nak kena buat apa kan, pergi ikut dia ke? Pergi ikut dia. So saya masuk ikut dia, saya jumpa dengan seorang general manager, which is Encik, ada seorang general manager tu, and then saya tunjuk saya punya application semua, and then dia happy, dia cakap, I want you to be in my team. Lepas tu saya bagi tahu dekat HR pun cakap okey tak apa, Encik Zainul boleh balik semua, nanti saya macam ni. So kat situ point dia saya nak cakap, saya dapat kerja kat Petronas masa tu adalah disebabkan dengan FYP saya. So believe in yourself. Kalau you percaya yang you can create something wonderful, something big, this is the right time lah. So because we don't have any experience for a start, because we are fresh grad. So bila kita pergi ke outside world, apa yang kita nak jual, macam mana kita nak jual diri kita. Sebab to be fair, there's a lot of graduates all around Malaysia kan. So how you want to make yourself different with others candidates is actually with your project. What you have, what are your knowledge, what are your experience. So please pay attention in your final year project. Make sure you deliver something that is complete. If you don't have the luxury of having everything completed ke apa ke, don't worry, don't give up. Fight towards the end. Try to prioritize. This is what I always advise to student. Bila diorang nak create project, diorang nak create macam-macam kadang-kadang. But please stay focused in what you want to deliver first. Learn how to prioritize. Kalau dalam application korang ada 10 features, list out siap-siap, prioritizekan which one yang the main items that you want to deliver. So bila you have that list, follow one by one supaya kalau the main feature needs to be completed rather than the small item. For example, kalau macam saya ni, saya buat video tu last 2 days before the final presentation. Memang dah last minute sangat, and it's actually in my list, but it's very low, the lowest priority lah. So bila saya dah siapkan application saya semua, bila saya dah last 2 days tu baru saya cakap, okay, memang saya nak buat something yang macam bagi wow sikit masa saya present tu, saya nak buat video. So last 2 days tu baru ada peluang untuk buat, baru saya buat, edit, siap. Okay. That is how you do it lah. How I advise you to do it. So that is why I think your final year punya project tu is very important. Please pay attention, learn how to prioritize, create something that big, because that will actually dia boleh jadi your punya life changing punya chance lah, I would say. So that will be it. Let's proceed with the Q&A. Afiq Jom Afiq, kita provide dengan Q&A kejap. I understand sekarang ni kita dah pukul 12, but terima kasih banyak-banyak 125 orang yang stay lagi. So jomlah kita buat Q&A, nak tanya apa-apa ke, pengalaman ke apa ke, boleh tanya saya. Let's go.
Okey, baiklah. Terima kasih atas perkongsian yang diberikan Cik ZAINUL NAIM. Amat padat ya informasi dan pengalaman yang telah disampaikan oleh tetamu jemputan kita. Sudah tiba masanya untuk sesi soal jawab. Saya pasti sudah ramai yang tidak sabar untuk bertanyakan soalan. Hadirin sekalian boleh ajukan soalan sama ada di ruangan chat box ataupun boleh juga buka mikrofon dan menyuarakan soalan. Sila perkenalkan diri dahulu sebelum bertanyakan soalan anda. Tetapi sebelum Encik ZAINUL NAIM menerima soalan daripada para hadirin, saya sendiri ingin bertanyakan soalan. Soalan saya, apa yang kita perlu fokus dulu kalau masa untuk siapkan projek itu amat singkat?
Yep. Tadi Afiq yang tanya kan?
Ya.
Okay, terima kasih banyak. So macam saya cakap tadi tu, yang kita nak fokus tu, how you do it is you prioritize lah. For example, macam during my time, masa saya buat application saya tu, saya dah identify a few modules, a few features that saya nak include dalam mobile app saya tu. But again, dalam banyak-banyak tu, of course, kita dah prioritize siap-siap dah. Okay, saya nak buat yang ni. Actually, the main features ada dalam project saya, app saya masa tu is the simulator, dummy simulator. Mana saya kena create a logic, a sequence where the user can actually select dia punya camera setting tu kan. Bila dia shoot, dia akan keluar dia punya gambar, which is the actual gambar with the setting. And also saya bagi rating sekali kat situ, ada star punya kan, how many star. So the more star, the more better lah your picture kan. So benda tu is a dummy simulator je. It doesn't really connected with the camera ke apa ke. But the good part of it is you can actually practice your skill, know your knowledge in terms of this camera punya configuration tu anywhere, at any time. So during my time tu, the simulator is the main item that I want to deliver. Tapi saya tak jumpa dia punya solution tau. So during that time, bila kita stuck kat situ, jangan stay kat situ. So saya fokus kat benda lain juga. Of course that is my main priority, tapi saya stuck sampai saya tak boleh jalan benda-benda lain. So saya kena reprioritize. Saya prioritaskan benda lain tu. Bila along the way tu, bila dah buat tu, at the same time kita fikir juga macam mana kita nak buat simulator tu. So thankfully, alhamdulillah saya dapat idea few months before the final punya day tu. Saya dapat idea macam mana nak buat, and then saya buat benda tu jadi. Saya pergi tunjuk kat Encik Fakri, saya ingat lagi. Saya pergi jumpa pensyarah-pensyarah, Dr. Halina semua, saya tanya opinion semua. And then alhamdulillah saya dapat that solution, and then saya buat siap-siap, and then everything is complete. Tapi to answer your question, Afiq, focus on your essential features dalam your punya project. Kalau you punya project nak buat booking ticket punya system, for example lah, booking ticket punya system, that booking punya flow needs to be completed. So focus on that first. Jangan fokus kat nak bagi UI cantik ke apa ke, tapi at least bagi dia punya flow untuk you punya booking sukses. Kalau tidak, bila you nak buat a system, you call it as a ticket booking system, but at the end of the day, you cannot complete that booking punya flow. So that is defeat the purpose lah. Walaupun pun you punya sistem cantik macam mana pun, you create video promotion ke apa ke, tapi you punya submission tak jadi, you tak dapat nak develop. So it defeat the purpose, because your system is a ticket booking system. So I hope that answer your question. How you prioritize is how you focus is you prioritize your features, your modules, what you want to deliver the most essential one first. And then when you have time, baru you tengok on the other part, the other features, nak bagi cantik ke apa ke, That is up to you. But the main focus, the main flow, the main task needs to be spot on. Okay, I hope that answer your question, Afiq. Any other question tak? I'm opening my chat juga, so kalau ada nak tanya dekat chat pun boleh juga. Let's go guys. Tak ada apa-apa ke nak tanya?
Assalamualaikum Cik Naim.
Salam.
Nama saya Basiman.
Okay, Basiman.
Saya nak tanya, selain daripada projek PSM, macam mana kita nak improve portfolio ataupun kita punya resume sebagai UI ataupun UX designer?
Betul. Terima kasih ya Basiman tanya. So portfolio. So talking about portfolio, if you interested in being a UI UX punya person, or even you want to be a developer ke apa ke, your portfolio, if you want to have a very good portfolio, don't only rely on your final year project, of course. You need to create something else kan on the side. I think that should you need to count as well. You need to factor in as well whatever that you did throughout your time in the university. For example, if you can create a good video ke apa ke, have everything in line. If you, for example, if you, even when you conduct this session, for example, the committee member ke apa kan, you know how to communicate with person outside, external people, how to negotiate, how to, you know, how to set up a session, how to, because that is actually a valuable punya experience for you guys. That should be part of your portfolio. And again, if you want to focus on the UI UX itself, a good way to do to have a good portfolio is you need to design. You need to design. You need to spend time to create, to learn, to do a lot of readings, know about the fundamentals of UI UX. What are the, you know, the methodology, because kalau dalam UI UX ni dia punya methodology dia banyak sangat terms dia. Kita ada usability research, dan research pun kita ada banyak. Kita ada guerrilla testing, kita ada heuristic evaluation, kita ada heat map tracking, eye tracker, ada banyak method yang kita boleh pakai. So you do a lot of reading, to answer your question, you do a lot of reading. Everything that you have created throughout your time in university ke apa ke, you design apa-apa ke, even you design apa ni, poster ke apa ke, keep it to your keep it, you boleh pergi ke ada certain site yang you guys boleh showcase you punya portfolio, you boleh buat benda tu. And then macam I cakap tadi, if you are developer, you can create your own design system, for example. That will be very added value to yourself when you go to, bayangkan you pergi ke company ni, you cakap you want to be a software engineer ke apa ke, you tunjuk you punya project, for example, and then you tunjuk juga, this is my personal design system that I have been using for all my tasks semua. So you have a very standard punya font size, color, dia punya shape ke apa ke, icon semua tu. That will, if I'm the interviewer, I will be very impressed, and you probably get the job. So hopefully that helps. Basiman, thank you so much for that question. Anything else from the floor? We can have few more questions. Hello.
Assalamualaikum, Cik Naim.
Ya, Haris
ya. Okey,
ni Haris yang cakap tadi tu
tak, saya baru cakap.
Oh, ni Haris lain. Okey.
Okey, nama saya Haris. Saya punya, untuk projek FIT saya lebih kepada psikologi. So kalau berkaitan interface kan, warna apa yang ataupun macam themes apa yang sesuai?
Okay, psikologi pasal apa?
Saya buat pasal critical thinking. Critical thinking meter.
Okay, who is your target persona? Siapa yang you punya target audience, target user, end user?
Students,
University student. So dekat situ you dah dapat dah sikit a way how you want to have your concept in terms of design lah kan, nak bagi dia attractive kan. Is that your question, Haris?
Ya, ya betul.
So macam tu, always focus on your target user, which is the end user lah, which is kalau you target the audience would be the university student, you dah tahu dah, okay set, okay university student, I punya target user. So apa yang diorang suka? Diorang suka main Facebook ke, Instagram ke, TikTok ke, and then with that actually you can actually have that that concept yang you boleh approach. So bila that target audience, bila diorang tengok you punya sistem ke apa, is it a system, Haris, by the way?
Mobile application.
Mobile application kan. So macam it's a mobile application, if the design itself, the concept design, you can actually reflect from what are the target audience. So you dah tahu you punya ni is a university punya student, mostly teenage punya person, they are very techy, so you kena cari design yang very vibrant, macam mana nak attract orang untuk guna you punya application. So one of the method that you can use is do a research lah. Do a research of your target audience, know your persona, buat persona siap-siap. Okay, persona your student student age sekian-sekian, age sekian-sekian, ada yang tua sikit, ada yang muda sikit, for example. You boleh tahu that categorization of people that potentially will use your application. So you do a research. I think in terms of research, you can do a lot of research. You can do an interview, you can do a A/B testing. A/B testing is very simple. For example, you create a 2 different concept design, and then you pergi cari siapa-siapa ke, ataupun you buat through Google Form je ke, you send dekat orang, suruh orang answer. Okay, between design A dengan design B, which one yang you suka? So nanti you ada like for example 50 responden. Tengoklah percentage mana yang orang suka, mana design yang, mana konsep yang orang suka. So dekat situ you dah dapat tahu, okay, konsep A ni orang tak apa nak suka sangat, konsep B ni orang suka. So dekat situ you boleh nampak apa target audience nak. Okay, so that will actually help you to make a decision in terms of the look and feel, the design concept, or even what are the ever items that you want to achieve in your application. I hope that answer your question, Haris. Terima kasih banyak tanya soalan.
Terima kasih.
Alright. Anything else tak nak tanya? You guys punya project semua okay ke? Ada sesiapa yang stuck ke apa-apa ke? Boleh saya tahu kenapa stuck ke apa ke? Maybe kita boleh share. Okay ke? Kita dah 12:18, saya bagi 2 minit lagi. Boleh? Last question, jom. Let's go.
Saya nak tanya.
Okay, siapa ni? Your name?
Chong Jiadi.
Chong Jiadi, okay. Go ahead. Tadi
project
tanya soalan kan?
Ya,
So,
ada.
bukan tanya soalan, you ada answer some question juga tadi kan? Alright, go ahead.
Ya, ada. My PSN is about is related to IoT. So nak tanya, nak buat hardware dulu ke atau software, sebab blur sangat, stuck sikit.
Start sikit. Okay. You punya final year project ada combination of hardware dengan software, is it?
Yes.
Okay. Which part that you are stuck, in the hardware or the software?
Both. Because I'm not sure my hardware, is it work, and then I don't know how to write in my report.
Okay. You already pass your defense title ke?
Already.
So during your defense title, have you considered any any drawback? For example, for example, myself, for example, when I do a defense title, I need to make sure that I am very solid in terms of my understanding of what I'm going to do. You see? So during your of course, different title, you need to do some research kan, apa you nak buat semua kan. It's not something that you need to do wow tapi beyond your capability sangat. I mean, it's okay for you to push yourself, but you need to know the boundaries lah. You need to have a drawback punya plan. Okay, that is very consistent even in the outside world. If you do if you join you have a job ke apa nanti kan, of course you want to do something that very great, excellent kan, but you need to have a apa ni, dia punya drawback punya plan. If there's something wrong, what you need to do, what are plan B, what I need to focus at, what I need to do. But what I can suggest you, Chong Jia, is you try to re-evaluate in terms of your understanding on your project first, and then second is you need to ask the others' opinions. I think that is the best option that you have. If you found something difficult doing the hardware punya part, find someone that is good in the hardware. If you find something that is difficult on the software part, find someone that is good in the software punya part. It's the only way that you can do to solve your problem right now. I think your issue here is not in terms of how you prioritize things because you are stuck kan. So you need to reevaluate. You need to make sure you understand everything again, because have that apa ni, you kena ada that self punya motivation, how you want to get through that problem kan. And then you need to make sure that yourself is fully equipped in terms of the knowledge before you go to other person. For example kan, if you have a problem, you don't go to someone and tell them the problem. You can actually need to have a proposed solution as well. For example, I think it will work this way, but right now I can't make it work, for example. Faham tak Chong Jia Jin? Okay, if you have problem, okay, try to find a solution dulu. Tapi if you buat tak jadi, you need to find someone and then you ask for it lah. Tapi don't go to them. For example, if you want to go to lecturer pun, I don't think there will be a problem pun. But tak nak lah you pergi with empty hand. You see? You tak nak pergi cakap, I start lah buat kat sini, I tak tahu nak buat macam, I don't know how to start. You need to have something at least, okay? Even if you in the apa ni, industry ke apa ke nanti bila you kerja, you don't go to your boss with a problem. You need to come with a potential solution, okay? If you are stuck, you can't make a decision, you need to ask someone, you need to ask for help. Raise your hand, ask for help. It's okay, but don't go with empty-handed. Make yourself, prepare yourself, try to propose a few solution, and then ask for them their opinion, and probably you can actually have something, they can actually teach you how to do it. I think that is the best thing you can do. And I wish you all the best, Chong Jia Jin. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Oh, third year kan, habis dah kan? Okay. All right. Anything else ke before we end the session? Kalau tak ada, Afiq, bolehlah kita. Okay, ada soalan dekat chat room Saya nak tanya, boleh tak kita buat web untuk projek PSM? Jika boleh, apa jenis web yang kita boleh kita buat, atau kita hanya boleh buat mobile application? Ini saya tak sure sangat sebab I think this will actually go back to your department punya lecturer lah kot. Saya tak pasti awak boleh buat web teknologi, boleh buat mobile ke apa ke. Try to have that conversation with your lecturer ke apa ke. I think they can actually give you a proper feedback on it lah. Saya rasa. Tapi in terms of idea, saya ada a good tips on how you can propose an idea. Saya faham kadang-kadang ada certain project title being proposed by the lecturer itself, which is good. I think the lecturer knows you well, and then they know how to, you know, apa ni, dig out your potential tu. And then there's another part juga yang kita boleh propose the title ourselves kan. So if you propose the title yourself, you need to make sure that that is something that you are interested on, something that you have at least a little bit of knowledge of it. That will actually help you. So it not only motivate you, but you will have that passion to complete that thing. Because during my time, I end up with my title of doing the first clip punya application tu. Sebab saya sangat minat dengan fotografi last time. It's really a thing back then kan, fotografi DSLR. So saya sangat minat pasal DSLR, and saya tahu every bits about pictures, about how to do the setting and whatsoever. So I make my I do my project based on that knowledge, based on that passion that I have. So it actually helped me to motivate myself and make me passionate lah in terms of what I'm going, because I want to complete it, because I want to share the knowledge to others as well. So I think that hopefully that helps. Terima kasih Amirul Hakim. Is there anything else? Kalau tak, Afiq, kita boleh wrap up jugalah kalau kita tak ada any question.
Baiklah. Terima kasih atas semua jawapan daripada Encik Zainul Naim. Baik, penasihat Kelab Teknologi Maklumat ITC, Puan Suryawati binti Suparjo. Dipersilakan Puan Suryawati.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Serta program industri talk penganjur.
Puan punya tu tersangkut.
Oh, saya ingatkan saya yang sangkut. Okay. Puan Suryawati, tak dengar, breaking sikit lah Puan.
Minta maaf, saya punya
kita sama-sama memaafkan antara satu sama lain. Itu adalah perkara biasa. Macam boleh dengar sikit-sikit dah tadi.
maaf, saya punya line yang tersangkut sebenarnya.
Okey. Okey lah ke?
Afiq, boleh dengar?
Boleh.
Ya.
Breaking sikit lah kan?
Ya, sekarang? Okay. Saya nampak Zainul yang statik, saya ingatkan. Okey. Okey, jadi
saya rasa Puan kena off video lah Puan.
Menyertai program ini hingga akhir, kepada penganjur, pada Zainul ke yang sudi sekali lagi berkongsi ilmu pada semua peserta. Ke line saya masih sangkut.
Ya okey, kejap tak.
Okey, saya off video lah. Okey, boleh clear. Macam mana? Okey, boleh dengar suara saya?
Dah boleh dah.
Boleh Puan.
Okey, saya tak perlu buka video lah. Okey, sekali lagi saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada semua peserta program ni dan juga kepada ZAINUL Naim lah yang sudi berkongsi juga ilmu. Sekali lagi, ini program kali kedua kan Zainul berkongsi kepada pada pelajar kita. Saya kira banyak yang boleh cari UI UX ni sebab kalau sebelum ni pelajar kita fokus lebih pada UI, design yang cantik, design yang interaktif ataupun ada istilah design yang tak boring. But sebenarnya apa yang lebih penting ialah bagaimana user acceptance. Bagaimana user menerima apps yang kita buat walau cantik macam mana pun, tapi bagaimana penerimaan, sebab itulah ada istilah UX sekarang ni. Dan itulah pentingnya saya kira apa yang dikongsi oleh saudara Zainul tadi harapnya boleh dapat memberi sikit sebanyak input lah kepada semua pelajar FSKTM dan juga mungkin ada peserta luar yang menyertai memberikan input untuk membantu kamu buat apa projek-projek dalam kelas dan juga untuk FYP. Okey, saya boleh tak saya nak mengulas sikit soalan tadi. Ada yang tanya kalau dia pelajar web tech, adakah hanya boleh buat mobile application saja? Okey, saya boleh berikan pandangan begini. Kamu kena faham, mobile application bermaksud platformnya adalah secara mobile. Kita ada different platform. Ada web, online web ataupun desktop. So sebenarnya tak ada masalah kalau kamu buat projek-projek yang tidak semestinya mobile apps, kan? Buat website, desktop, tapi sekarang ni bukan ruang lingkup tu. Macam ni kamu kena kembangkan sikit. Mungkin boleh kamu come out dengan idea, contohlah macam sekarang online resource macam Otter, UTHM. Mungkin kamu boleh come out dengan idea-idea yang begitu, portal yang begitu. Tak semestinya kepada mobile app sahaja. Okey? Juga macam apa? Shopee, Lazada, kamu come out dengan idea untuk create satu platform secara online yang sebegitu tapi mungkin untuk tujuan lain. Grab kan, itu idea-idea yang sangat bagus yang kamu boleh tiru tapi kamu kembangkan pada skop yang lain. Sebenarnya besar, banyak yang kamu boleh buat, bukan setakat pada mobile app saja. Jadi sebenarnya macam seperti mana yang Zainul kongsikan tadi, pada zaman Zainul ini, pada masa tu mobile apps belum lagi berkembang, tapi Zainul berani mengambil cabaran untuk membuat satu yang lain daripada lain. That's why dia dapat buat satu yang memang masa tu memang kita rasa sangat menarik, memang idea dia unik lain daripada lain, dan sebab itulah Zainul nak produk dia bukan setakat menang pada peringkat universiti, pada peringkat fakulti, menang pada peringkat universiti, menang pada peringkat Malaysia, dan kita hantar juga produk dia menang di Korea. Itulah sehingga macam itulah dia punya kejayaan Zainul Naim ni, dan dia memang sesuai lah untuk berkongsi apa yang dikongsikan pada hari ini. Dan satu lagi juga saya nak berkongsi lah, Zainul Naim ni saya tak pernah ajar dia, tapi saya kenal dia sebagai seorang yang memang sangat macam ni, antara kami pelajar pensyarah ni kadang-kadang kita ada kenal, kita ingat pelajar yang memang kita tak ajar tapi kita boleh ingat dia, macam itulah. Saya ingat lagi, mungkin inilah antara yang membantu mudah urusan dia dapat kerja senang tu kan. Saya ingat lagi lah masa konvo, saya nak kongsi masa konvo saya tak ajar dia, tapi dia antara pelajar boleh saya kata satu-satunya kot pelajar yang ingat pensyarah walaupun tak ajar. Instead kita bagi dia bunga, dia bagi semua pensyarah bunga masa konvo. Itu jadi saya kira antara sikap-sikap macam ni lah yang sebenarnya membantulah mudah dia dapat kerja dan dapat kerja tempat yang bagus, yang baik. Itulah satu perkara yang saya boleh kongsikan tentang speaker kita pada hari ini, dan juga mungkin yang lainnya pun boleh maksudnya kadang-kadang dia bukan semata-mata sebab apa yang kamu belajar, tapi bagaimana pembawaan diri, sikap, akhlak kamu, terutama pada semualah sekeliling, ibu bapa, pensyarah, dan bagaimana yang diceritakan semasa dia berhadapan dengan seorang yang tidak dikenali daripada keturunan itu sendiri, tapi akhlak kita itu menentukan kita punya inilah pada masa hadapan. Jadi itulah, itu saja yang saya boleh katakan. Jadi terima kasih semua yang sudi menyertai program ini. Terima kasih. Saya pulangkan semula kepada MC Mama Afiq. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Puan Sarwati atas ucapan sebentar tadi. Seterusnya saya persilakan pengarah program Muhammad Zahir bin Subakir untuk menyampaikan sepatah dua kata. Dipersilakan.
Okey, baiklah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat sejahtera. Yang dihormati pesyarah kita Puan Munirah binti Yusof dan Puan Suryawati binti Suparjo selaku penasihat Kelab ITC, panel jemputan Encik ZAINUL NAIM BIN ZAMHURI, para hadirin sekalian serta para pensyarah yang turut serta pada program hari ini. Syukur kita kehadrat ilahi kerana dapat bersama-sama menjayakan program Industry Talk UI UX Design 102 pada hari ini. Besarlah harapan saya agar program yang berlangsung itu tadi mampu memberi manfaat kepada para pelajar UTHM dan diri saya sendiri. Banyak input yang telah disampaikan oleh panel jemputan kita Encik ZAINUL NAIM mengenai pengetahuan UI UX yang sebenar. Saya mewakili pihak pengurusan memohon maaf jika ada kekurangan dan berharap agar majlis pada kali ini dapat memberi manfaat kepada semua peserta yang hadir. Semoga segala apa yang terkandung di dalam program itu tadi mampu memberi sedikit sebanyak pengetahuan dan juga kemahiran kepada para peserta. Lebih-lebih lagi dalam menyiapkan tugasan FYP masing-masing. Akhir kata, saya juga ingin mengambil kesempatan sekali lagi untuk mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada para peserta yang sudi hadir meluangkan masa untuk menghadiri program ini. Pihak kami mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih di atas kerjasama dan keprihatinan semua pihak yang terlibat sama ada secara langsung ataupun tidak langsung. Sekian daripada saya. Terima kasih.
Okey, saya pun nak bagi ucapan sikit ya. Saya ucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada pihak UTHM, pihak FSTM terutamanya, Puan Munirah and then Puan Suryawati. Terima kasih banyak-banyak atas ucapan yang pada saya sangat saya tersentuhlah juga, and then sebab saya rasa ia boleh jadi sebab sesuatu yang boleh diikuti oleh kalian semua juga. So I think bila kita dah kerja ni kan, kadang-kadang kita rindu sangat dengan suasana bila kita at university. So try to live that moment lah. Live that moment and get to know well with your pensyarah. To be honest, saya pun tak perfect sangat. Saya pun bukan perfect student ke apa ke, tapi I will try my best to have that good relationship with my lecturers lah during that time. And saya kadang-kadang bila kita ada banyak lecturer kan, kadang-kadang saya rasa kadang-kadang terkilan juga saya tak kenal dengan lebih mendalam ada certain lecturer. Tapi especially during my time, lecturer multimedia ni sangat close to me lah. Encik Fakri, kita ada Dr. H, Dr. Ann, Puan Suryawati, Dr. Farhan, banyaklah lecturer lain juga. So try to get to know your lecturer juga, appreciate them, because once you are when you are bila dah dekat suasana kerja ni dia dah lain dah. So sebab itu saya kalau boleh saya want to continue to have that relationship between my lecturer semua. So terima kasih banyak atas ucapan tadi Puan Suryawati. Saya juga nak memberikan terima kasih saya kepada especially tuan moderator hari ini, Muhammad Zahir bin Subakir. Kita punya pengarah program Encik Muhammad Zahir bin tadi Muhammad Afiq Muhammad Amir. Kita ada pengarah program Muhammad Zahir bin Subakir. Kita ada pembaca doa Muizul, kita ada AJK lain juga, Syahira, kita ada Adriana, Nur Hafiz, Amira, kita ada Faiz. Terima kasih banyak-banyak sebab saya tahu untuk satu tim nak coordinate session macam ni, sebenarnya dia ada banyak proses dia kan. So saya nak ucapkan terima kasih banyak. Terima kasih juga yang tak terhingga kepada semua yang hadir. Before saya end this call, before saya habis, saya nak memberikan sesuatu kepada peserta-peserta hari ni. So saya nak berikan 3 helai t-shirt Petronas, OG Culture t-shirt ni. So saya dah ada few names. Saya nak ucapkan terima kasih kepada yang berinteract dengan saya tadi. Saya ada nama dia dekat sini. Saya ada Zarif, Rifah, Nazmi, Amirul Hakim, Yuki, Siti Aisyah, Chong Jiajin, Haris, Basiman, Adli, dengan Haris juga. So terima kasih banyak. Jadi saya nak bagi 3 helai ni kepada most aktif punya audience hari ni. Kita ada 3 peserta ni. Nanti tolong berikan nama kepada Encik Zahir boleh?
Boleh.
So boleh bagi nama dekat Encik Zahir nanti Zahir boleh communicate dengan saya lah, bagi nama, kita akan uruskan penghantaran baju t-shirt Petronas ni. So saya nak bagi hadiah ni kepada Zarif, Chong Jiajin dan juga Basiman. Okey? Ada ke? Zarif ada ke kat sini? Ada lagi ke?
Ada.
Nasib baik ada. Kalau tak bagi kat orang lain. Okay. Basiman ada, Basiman?
Ada, terima kasih Cik.
Dia? Chong Jiajin ada?
Ada.
Ada.
Terima kasih.
Okay. Hopefully you can do well for your project kan. Don't worry, try your best. Try to plan out lah. I think that is the most important part. Thank you juga ada, sorry saya boleh provide 3 helai saja. Terima kasih kepada lain-lain yang berinteraksi dengan saya tadi. Terima kasih banyak-banyak. Terima kasih FSKTM, terima kasih pesyarah-pesyarah. Terima kasih semua yang hadir. Saya sudahi dengan wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Cik Afiq.
Baiklah, terima kasih kepada pengarah program kita dan Encik ZAINUL NAIM. Nampaknya setakat itu saja masa yang kita ada pada hari ini. Saya bagi pihak ITC ingin merakamkan ucapan jutaan terima kasih kepada Encik ZAINUL NAIM kerana sudi meluangkan masa bersama kita untuk merungkaikan dan mengupas topik UI UX design secara mendalam. Pihak ITC juga ingin berterima kasih kepada hadirin sekalian kerana sudi menyertai sesi perkongsian serta memeriahkan lagi suasana. Semoga apa yang dikongsikan pada hari ini dapat dimanfaatkan pada masa hadapan, sama ada untuk membuat tugasan universiti ataupun di alam kerja nanti. Sebelum hadirin sekalian meninggalkan Zoom meeting ini, diminta semua peserta mengisi borang kehadiran dan borang feedback untuk memudahkan proses melibatkan SMAP peserta dan maklum balas berkaitan program kami. Dan jangan lupa untuk menyertai program sebegini lagi di kemudian hari. Maklumat terkini boleh dicapai dengan mengikuti media sosial rasmi ITC di akaun Instagram @ITCFSKTM dan Facebook ITC-UTHM untuk mendapatkan hebahan. Sebelum kita menutup program pada hari ini, pihak kami berharap agar semua peserta dapat membuka kamera masing-masing untuk sesi bergambar tanda kenangan bersama-sama dan diminta semua hadirin untuk bersedia. AJK Multimedia diminta untuk mengetuai sesi bergambar ini.
Okey. Boleh dengar?
Boleh.
Para peserta yang nak buka kamera, boleh buka kamera. Okay, so kita akan ada 2 gambar. Satu formal dan satu tak formal. Okay, yang formal ni just senyum je kat kamera, tak payah buat apa-apa pun. Okay. Sebab ada beberapa page. Peserta ni ramai, so harap dapat bersabar. Okay, sekarang untuk tidak formal pula. 1, 2, 3. Okey, kekalkan posture tak formal tu untuk beberapa saat. Okey, terima kasih. Itu saja. Saya serahkan kepada Afiq.
Dengan itu, berakhirnya sesi bergambar ini, maka berakhirlah program Industry Talk UI UX Design 102. Kami mengucapkan setinggi-tinggi penghargaan dan kalungan ucapan terima kasih kepada penceramah jemputan, para pensyarah yang hadir serta kesemua para peserta yang bersama memeriahkan program ini. Kami tutup program ini dengan serangkap pantun. Anak muda membina bahtera, bahtera dibina teguh berdiri. Andai kata tersilap bicara, kami menyusun 10 jari. Kemaafan jua kami pohonkan. Sekian, wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hadirin sekalian boleh bersurai.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih banyak semua.